Well, hello there. It's so nice to see you again. If you're listening, that means that unfortunately, or fortunately, however you feel about it, that there's more anime coming out. And so, us here at the Nut Bar have to go through and evaluate it. We have to decide what sounds good, what sounds great, what sounds mid, and what is more slop for the piggies. And there's a good, healthy mix of all of that this season around.
I'd say there's a little less slop this season.
Yeah, than winter, which was truly just the worst. Do we do intros for the preview? Is that what we
we always do intros for the preview here.
Only for the previews.
Then we'll reintroduce ourselves.
Hey, my name is Juan. I go by Texmix on the screen here. I'm your action boy, and I'm also the person who does research the least. So I'm a lot more surprised by these shows.
I'm Chris, and I also watch all kinds of shows, but I guess people call me a snob, but it's because I'm right.
I mean, people being me.
Yeah.
I'm Logan. I am the Nut Bar's manga correspondent because every season before the shows start to air, I go and read at least the first chapter of literally every manga being released, and then I write down my thoughts on them. So get ready to hear me a lot this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of Logan in our docket here.
As there usually is. All right, hi, I'm Tim. You can call me Tim. I am the anime person in our group, so I'll keep up with a little bit of everything this season.
I mean, we have 40 shows this season, and you're probably going to watch all 40?
No way. There's no way he's going to watch some of these shows.
We'll see.
Yeah, he'll at least try most of them, though.
40 new shows, by the way.
Yeah, not including our sequels, which, speaking of, great segue. We're going to start by going over some of the high-profile sequels that are coming out this season first, but because this podcast is primarily focused on new anime and not continuing series, we're not going to spend that much time on it. But, here we go. I also don't have the visuals up. I didn't pull all of these up. So we'll get started. Juan, tell us about Boku no Hero Season 7.
Yeah, Chris just said we're going to go through these as fast as possible. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, just like a couple minutes here. So, My Hero Season 7. This is probably going to be the second to last season of My Hero. I've read the manga. I've been keeping up with the manga for a while, and I can solidly say just watch the first episode or two and then just binge it whenever the show is done. Like when the entire show is done. Trust me. It is seeing My Hero go from this really great shonen into this very rushed job. Like it is very clearly rushed. And it sucks because the reason why it's being rushed is because Horikoshi, the author, has been getting bullied essentially by the fans. And he's tired of it. So he's just trying to finish as fast as possible.
That sucks.
And it sucks.
It does.
And you can really feel it within these this last arc.
Refrain from making fun of My Hero fans on an anime podcast because that is probably tantamount to suicide. So anyway, I'll let Juan take the heat there.
Hey, Juan,
yes.
Is this the last season? Or was one more?
No, this is season 7. So from what I can tell from the preview, from the PV, it's gonna do the start of the war arc, but the war arc is long. It's almost 100 chapters long right now.
Jesus Christ.
I think it's probably gonna stop partway into the war, and then the final season probably be 12 episodes or so. Will be the final season.
Okay.
Watch the first one, maybe 2 episodes, depending on how long this fight is gonna be. This fight is really good, except for the ending part of it. The ending is stupid, but visually, this is a really cool fight here. I'll just say what it is. It is Stars and Stripes versus powered up Shigaraki. It goes insane. It is all flying, and it's gonna go crazy. Assuming that Bones actually puts in the production values into it, because
they're not really doing much else right now, so they better. Okay,
I hope.
Moving on. Next up, we have probably what is my single most anticipated show of the entire season, which is Hibike Euphonium Season 3. It's really cool, that this is even happening, that we're even getting more Hibike after the fire, and it's cool to see that Kiani's kind of fully recovered. Excited to see more of this cast because Hibike is amazing. Season 2.
Is there a movie that we need to watch, or
there's a movie
There's
you
an
guys all
OVA.
have to watch?
It's an OVA, but yeah.
Okay.
OVA/movie. It's like
Mhm.
55 minutes.
Okay. That's more OVA, but yeah.
Anyway, we're looking forward to that.
Next up, we have Idolmaster Shining Colors. I don't know much about this generation of Idolmaster, but I am hopeful that this is really good because they already greenlit a second season for this. And after the last franchise of Million Lives was like honestly really disappointing, I'm hoping this like turns it around and brings back the idol charm that I know it has.
Me too. Next up is Kimetsu.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer, the Hashira arc. We're watching this because we have to. I think most of us pretty much were tired of it. Of the last season, I thought it was the worst season yet. Surely,
Do we know if it's a full season now?
Yeah, it's a full
It-
season.
It's a full season, but it's a shorter season. I think it's only going to be like 8 episodes or something. Because it starts really late. It doesn't start till like May, like 12th
Yeah,
or
it's a
something.
delayed start.
Oh shit! Yeah, wow.
So, anyway, we'll watch it. We'll let y'all know later how it was. My thinking is surely it can't be worse, but it always could be. Next up is definitely one of the more anticipated ones. God, how long has it been since season 2? Konosuba season 3 is finally
Pre-COVID.
happening. Yeah, it's been a
Dude.
long ass time. We obviously got the movie as well, which was funny.
I mean, the
movie
movie
and
was,
then
was
the spin-off.
And
pre-COVID.
the explosion spinoff, yeah. So
The explosion spin-off was kind of
was
disappointing.
not great, yeah. But I expect it to be more of the same comedy, and hopefully Studio Drive makes it look fine enough. Not that the original looks like amazing or anything, but hopefully it's passable. Still excited.
The original has like a certain charm to it.
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
have animation issues with the spinoff.
No,
like
it
I had
looked fine.
issues with the spinoff, but like animation wasn't.
Yeah, it looked
one of the
solid.
problems. So
Mhm.
I think they'll do season 3 fine.
Me too. Excited. On a completely different, but I guess Isekai adjacent note, we have Mushouku Tensei. This is part 2 of season 2 that aired in fall, right? Or summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fall.
So just more of that if you were on that train.
Do you know where we go from here, Tim?
No, I haven't kept up with the source material for this one.
Okay, so it's after the school arc, so we're finally going to be leaving school, I think.
Exciting.
Well, we had that
Um,
whole confession, so I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, that too.
Next up is yet more Isekai, which is Slime Isekai Season 3. I know that a lot of the
Only
Isekai
Season 3?
crackheads... Yeah, but there have been multiple parts of other seasons.
Oh,
They
there
There
split
have
was
been, like,
it.
multiple
season
cores.
2 and a season 2 part 2.
Yeah,
I
so
think
Gotcha.
that's the only one that's been
we're
split.
pretty deep in the show at this point. I know a lot of Isekai crackheads really like this one. I thought that what I watched of it was fine, so I'm sure it's going to continue to be good.
Oh, we're going to talk about this one?
We can mention it. There's going to be an adaptation of a stage play version of Touken Ranbu. I really don't know anything about what this is or how it's different from the previous iterations because I am so not the target audience for Touken Ranbu.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have friends who are big into Touken Ranbu, though not the anime, because the anime has not been to their liking.
It's because it's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's happening if you care. And then another big one, at least for some of us, is Yuru Camp Season 3, which I am very excited for.
I'm extremely excited for Yuru Camp Season 3.
Another one you guys have to watch the movie for.
Well, technically,
Oh,
that's not.
shit.
That's actually.
I mean, you don't technically have to, but you
Yeah,
probably should.
we should.
honestly.
I would like to.
We should do
I
it.
love Yuru Camp so much.
Very excited though. Though it's weird, it's not in winter. It was always been in winter before, and that I thought that was appropriate.
Yeah,
well.
you're right, because it's usually a winter show.
It's a different studio, so it's interesting to see how that's going to affect the.
Yeah, I'm a little
production
worried
stuff.
about that.
We were talking about that a little bit before the episode, but the podcast. But 8-Bit has done plenty of like nice visuals, and I think some of the same staff is working on it, so I think it'll be fine.
Okay, that's good.
All right, that's it for our sequels. We skipped a couple like Mahoka Koko no Retosei that I know people like, and like Data Live 5. Those are happening too. I think
There's
there's
only 5 data lives?
who
I just
knows.
wonder more.
All right, let's get into the real new anime, starting with Astro Note.
Astro Note. All right. Sometimes I regret doing this podcast. I say this because I would have been. I was already pretty interested in the show, like from the synopsis by itself. But because of the way we do the podcast, we like check out the previews and like do a little research on that. And I would have seeing the first episode blind would have been insane for me. Because from what I can tell in the synopsis and in the PB, that this show is like a comedy slice of life where a guy moves into a dorm and has like a crush on the caretaker lady, which, fuck yeah. The twist is that she's an alien. Whoa! or I guess she's more like an intergalactic soldier, but whatever, the same thing really. But like, what really caught my attention, and like I knew would have gotten a huge reaction out of me from episode 1, is the dog, like a poodle, starts talking in Sukuna's VA,
Yeah.
and I would have been like, I would have lost my fucking shit if I saw that blind.
You can always watch the trailers muted.
I mean, I could, but like, I still see the dog talking, and I would have been like,
true.
oh. And like, also just like the entire cast is like wacky as shit.
It is.
Like that fucking like salaryman caricature.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see this show being like a really good time, but I could also see it being like too wacky. But the caretaker's hot, so I gotta
She's
watch
cute.
for that.
This was
Alright.
this was an interesting little trailer. This one has gotten some press ahead of time, so I was like aware of it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. And so I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. I think that this is very much in that sort of, it's going to kind of hinge on the execution, on whether or not it lands, whether or not it's funny enough, or if the premise kind of works. It's an original, so that's exciting. Love to see that. However, it is a rom-com, and if it leans too hard on like the anime rom-com tropes, then I don't know. Maybe
I don't think I will. It will. Like, I think it will lean more on the slice of life comedy than the romance part.
But it's unique enough that I'm definitely willing to check it out. So,
Any thoughts, Tim?
and the other one, yeah, the other two.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine for me at least. It's a very like wacky kind of show. I don't think it's going to fall too much into like the normal tropes we expect. At least I hope not. At least with a premise like that. The staff doesn't really give me a lot of reassurance, but they're not like the worst staff either. So nothing. The premise itself sounds interesting, but there's nothing else that really is like egging me on that this is going to be something good.
Maybe someday a girl as hot as Sunahara will show up. Fucking love that show.
Okay. All right. Next up on the list is the Bartender Kami no Glass remake.
Oh, it's a remake?
All right.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Apparently. So from the first few chapters that I read of this, it feels like it's kind of best to think of this like a procedural. Like somebody, the premise of the first, like, I guess 3 chapters is somebody comes to the bar with an emotional problem. The bartender gives them the Sherlock stare and figures out their emotional problem. Then he gives them some booze that emotionally resonates with them hard enough to fix the issue or inspire them to fix the issue or whatever. Like all procedurals, it kind of lives and dies on the details of the procedure and the human drama that the procedure creates. And on the first point, I'm willing to admit that my perspective is kind of useless. I don't like booze at all, and so all the talk of like, a rich dark stout to wake you from a mental fog, or a lukewarm martini to remind you of times before widespread refrigeration, it's like, it all tastes like mouthwash, I don't care. And for a lot of people, I know that isn't true, and maybe that's the secret to unlocking the appeal of this series, but for me, it just means that the resolution of every chapter is going to be kind of flat. And that could be fine if the rest of the chapter weren't also kind of flat. Like, the patrons of the week so far have been like, guy who thinks bartending is easy so that bartender can show him up, guy who wants to remember the good old days, and failing actor. So, like, we're not reaching for, the pits of the soul here. There's a secret third element to the procedural, the overarching relationship between the recurring characters. In this case, the main one is Bartender and a girl who is trying to hire him for her high-class hotel. And it's hard to judge how that's going to go this early into a work, but so far that kind of seems pretty weak too. Like, the bartender himself doesn't really have any hooks to his personality. He's like an affable guy who's good at being a bartender, and that's really all there is to him so far. And the main girl's like, her thing is like, oh, I don't want to live in the shadow of my rich, famous dad. And it's like, yeah, I've seen that before. That happens all the time, actually. And for me, it just felt like it was hurting for any kind of hook in any direction, and I didn't really see the need to continue with it past the first couple of chapters. I don't recommend it. I know it's famous. I don't know why, to be honest.
Pretty notable, and it got an adaptation in, I think, 2006 or 2007. That I know some people like. I haven't really heard anyone like, oh my god, it's a classic, it's their favorite anime of all time, but people seem to like it enough. So I think that I am down to check out just based on the premise and the vibes. Maybe it'll be nice. And like I do drink, so maybe that element will be a little bit more appealing to me. But at the same time, this anime kind of gives me the vibes of being one of those type of anime where he makes them the drink and then they drink it and they're like, oh, oishii desu, yatta, that hits the spot. And I feel like if it's just going to be that every single fucking episode, I will not be able to watch this because shows like that get really repetitive. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm surprised because like I've never heard about the show like at all before.
It's definitely
doing the research
pretty
here.
obscure, if for Western fans at least.
It was pretty well known back in the day,
Yeah.
but like I don't think I've heard anyone talk about it
I
the
think
last
the only
couple
reason
of
I know
years.
about it is because of AMQ, which is how I have heard of a lot of early like 2000s anime. But
Yeah, at least from the preview itself that I watched, like this looks pretty nice. Like
Yeah.
it looks very comforting. And then, like I can see the show like getting like really deep later on, but like I think starting out is probably going to be like more, just very small problems.
so
Right.
I'm down to give it a shot. I think it has enough of a pedigree to be worth checking out.
Yeah. Tim
so-
wanted to say something.
It's a pretty like it is a very like episodic kind of show where like people like in normal cases people go to the bar with their like grievances and they like complain to the bartender and this guy listens to their problems to give them words of encouragement. And like Logan says, he gives them a drink that kind of like suits like kind of relates to their problem or like their mood to cheer them up. He also like goes into like the backstory of like the drinks of like where they came from and stuff, which is kind of interesting if you're into that kind of things. I know Logan would probably fall asleep, but it's kind of interesting to know where like whiskey came from or stuff like that, or rye and stuff like that. It is definitely a little bit more on like I don't say it's like relaxed, but it is kind of like how the bar's like atmosphere is. It's very like soothing, come in and just to chill. It kind of has that same kind of atmosphere in the show, and I think I was kind of curious what Logan's gonna miss particularly, just because it doesn't feel like a lot of recent shows where it doesn't feel like it needs a hook or anything. It's like we come in,
Yeah, vibes
what's
based.
the problem, vibes based, and then come out.
I'm fine with that. I think episodic and vibes based is definitely something that's going to come down to the execution and presentation. So I think I'm interested in checking it out. Okay, moving on. So next up is Blue Archive, the animation. This is an adaptation of a wildly popular mobile gacha game. Though I'll be honest, I don't really recognize any of the characters on the screen based on and I want to say this, I am not someone who like, I would not call myself a coomer. I would not call myself someone who is just like obsessed with looking at hot, like big titty anime girls 24/7. But I have seen just a ridiculous amount of pornography of the girls from this series. I feel like every single time I see like generic hot art, I click on it and then it just says Blue Archive in the tag. I'm not kidding. It's like every single time without fail. And that's really all I know about this series. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to say.
Is this the first time it's getting adapted?
Yeah.
It is the first time.
Yeah.
Wild. Is there like another gacha game with blue in it that's been adapted?
Grand Blue?
No, like Azure Blue. Is that what it's
Azure
called?
Blue. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Series.
Are they both boats?
No, you're thinking of Azure Lane.
Azure
Lane.
Lane.
Is the boat. Yes.
Okay, then what's Blue Archive? Are they boats?
No,
No,
What are the
They
girls
don't-
in that one?
I think they're just girls.
Just
I think they're just girls.
Yeah, they don't have to be anything.
I was no. I mean, like most of the time they're like weapons.
I was
or like
I was really hoping that either Juan or Tim knew what the premise of this game was because I have no idea.
I figured Tim would know more.
I don't know.
That's
anything
literally
about
all I
this.
have on my
God.
notes. Ask Tim for details.
All I
We've all failed.
know about Blue Archive is that every time I think of it, I was like, "Is that the one with the really good music?" No, that's Arc
That's
Knights, and then I
Arknights,
stopped thinking about
I
it.
have been. There are some people on my TL that really like this like game. Like they like the actual game of it, and they say the writing is good.
I was about to say
the
like
story is good.
the actual game or just the character designs, because
But-
the character designs is just so much porn.
Gacha fans at this point say that about all gacha.
I
Like,
know,
oh,
they
the
say
story's
Arknights.
really good. I don't believe them per se.
I mean, according to Mal, there's like a student council that is a governing body in like the city. I don't know, dude. Okay, let
we
me
don't
put it
need
this
to
way.
keep doing this because
Clearly-
an ancient rule: if something has the animation in the title, don't watch it. This has the animation in the title.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
I mean, most game adaptations are bad.
Yeah. Hit me
Look.
up when Last Origin gets an adaptation.
I think that if you are into Blue Archive, you're already going to be watching this, and if not, then I don't know. It's a gotcha adaptation anime. Most of them have not been very good. Maybe this will break out. We'll check in later.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure we'll see clips of it on Twitter here and there.
All right, Logan, tell us about baseball.
Oh, right, yes. Boukyaku Battery.
Oblivion
So
Battery.
every season, there's a comedy that just completely fails to make me laugh. And
Oh,
this
boy.
season, it's Boukyaku Battery. So the gimmick here is that you got these two spindly clamp boys who are top shelf junior baseball players, but right before they get into high school, one of them gets baseball specific amnesia. And it turns out that his deep, obsessive love of baseball was the only thing stopping him from being the most annoying person in the entire world. The manga is like half this one guy telling terrible poop jokes, and it's clear the author knows that they're bad jokes, right? But he also thinks that it's like, oh, it's so quirky and it makes for a fun character to hang around with, and they could not be more wrong. And also the art is terrible. Like the proportions are all wrong. The backgrounds are just action lines when anything happens. It felt very amateurish. Amateurishly produced, I suppose, and the jokes were bad, and it's a comedy, and you can't have bad jokes in your comedy. I can't recommend this. I really did not like this at all.
Which is a shame because the trailer actually looks pretty good. So this is Mappa doing a sports anime. It's the first time they've done that since Taiso Samurai, I believe, which I liked. That was solid.
Oh man,
They've done
I like Taiso
other stuff
Samurai.
since, haven't they?
Other sports?
When was the water polo sport?
Was that Mappa?
That was after that. Yeah,
Oh, I totally
definitely
forgot.
Mapper.
Anyway, I like sport, or I like baseball as a sport, and I've been getting a little bit more into that recently as a grown adult man, which is, I can't believe I'm even saying that. If it's just a comedy that's not very funny, then I can see that maybe not working out as well. But if it actually works as a compelling, like, sports anime, then maybe I'll be more interested in watching this. It's so far it just looks like decent production values, lots of pretty boy Ikemen baseball players. My one complaint is that Mamoru Miyano plays one of the main characters. That guy does not sound like a high schooler. He's one of the best working in the industry right now, but make him play adult men. He just doesn't sound like a high schooler at all. I'm sorry. You can't play the depressed 35-year-old in whatever that show is called, the kids TV actor one. I didn't.
Oh, that one.
Oh yeah, Uramichi Onisan.
Yeah, Onisan, yeah, and then have him pretend
Oh,
to be a high
he's not the main
schooler.
character. He's the purple hair guy, and he does a great job at that
I'm
one.
saying that you can't have him play like these adult characters and then put him in a high school body and have him do the
Sure.
exact same voice and be like, yeah. Anyway,
I think he works fine as a high school body.
Maybe
He has a
the-
couple of voices.
anyway,
Like I'm thinking of like Zombieland or Zom 100. All the zombies apparently he has a pretty like useful
So-
voice.
What? He plays a character in Attack on Titan, doesn't he?
oh, we are
Mamoru
so
Miyano?
far off track.
I know.
I
I
I
don't
know.
anyway-
think so.
Anyway,
And
anyone
Going back
have-
to Logan's point, I don't think the show's supposed to be a comedy.
I don't think it's
Like,
supposed to be a
think
comedy
there's maybe
either.
comedic moments in there, but I don't think the main starting point of the show is comedy.
I'm
So
pretty sure the main. genre
I'm
of this
the
show
one
is-
who read the manga, so if it's going to turn into a sports thing, it should have started as a sports thing instead of starting as a bad comedy that has sports as like the punchline to its jokes. Sometimes, like if this is gonna be a serious sports show, sure, but that's not what they sold me in the first
Yeah.
chapter of the manga.
there's actually a lot of sports anime this season, and I would not say this is the one that I was the most looking forward to checking out, but it's probably number 2. So I don't know.
I mean, there's only like 2 or 3 sports anime.
There's
this
like
season,
3
I
or
think.
4.
Okay.
There might be 5. I can't remember. Anyway,
I mean, like for me, I'm the notorious sports hater of the group, and this actually caught my attention.
yeah. I mean,
So,
like it's a
like- I
good
mean, like-
studio doing.
I
don't
hope
know.
to God that the Mappa animators were not tortured for this show.
It's their off season. They're not even doing JJK or Chainsaw Man or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But like, there, I can see like there being like a small chance of me dropping it, but like I am definitely down to give this a shot.
I'm gonna check it out as well. Yeah. Tim, any further thoughts?
no, I mean it's Mappa, it's sports. I'll definitely check it out.
I hope
I
it's
think
good.
Logan's the only
I would
one
love
that's-
another good baseball anime. It's been a while. Which is
I don't
You
think
guys got Diamond No Ace.
I know. I could always go back in to the classics, but like I'm a little surprised there aren't more because of how popular baseball is in Japan. It's like the most popular sport by far. So
Well, I mean, like, I think I know more baseball anime than any other sports.
all I can think of is Ace of Diamond.
There's
Ace of
others,
Diamond.
for
I know
sure.
there's a couple others. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Next up is
Oh, fuck, this long ass name. Okay.
yeah.
Dekisokonai to Yobareta Motoeiyuu wa Jikka kara suhi sareta nore Sukikatte ni Ikiru Koto ni Shita. Or the banished former hero lives as he pleases. God damn, what a long ass title.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Light novel isekai.
Dude, I forgot Isekai was a thing for these like first 5 shows. I'm like, wow, these are some like pretty decent shows here.
No.
And then we get here, I'm like, oh, Isekai exists. That's right. Okay. According to the synopsis, the MC is a reincarnation of a hero in his past life. He was lucky enough not to be born with power, so he's banished from his family. He wanted to have a nice, easy adventure, but then he gets chosen. Blah blah blah. It's just another generic isekai with a harem
Yeah,
cast.
this is incredibly. The trailer was just like nothing.
The only notable aspect that I could find is that Shoto Ai is voicing the MC.
Really.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's also doing the OP because he's fucking Shoto Ai.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah, no, this looks terrible.
Otherwise, it is
I
just
have
generic
nothing.
as shit.
I have nothing else to say about this show. There's literally nothing.
The Seiyu cast is probably the only thing I found kind of interesting, but the rest of it was like nothing, really not notable at all.
It's about as
Yeah.
good as paint by numbers as you can be.
Yeah.
So we won't spend any more time on it because we have others that are like that too. Okay, the next one I am actually a little bit interested in. So this is an anime called Girls Band Cry, which is an original girl rock band anime. And maybe I just want more bochi, but I'm down. I'm into it. This is a full CGI anime, which I think, that can be sort of hit or miss, but I think that the designs are good enough and the facial animation is good enough just based on the trailer that I think it can get by, and hopefully the rock scenes are pretty good. So the synopsis is a girl is dropped out of high school early and went to go to university in Tokyo, and they all make a band together. I don't know. My one complaint, it's not really a complaint. The show, they all kind of look like VTubers a little bit.
A little bit. I
Like,
see
it
what you're
kind of feels
saying.
like
Yeah.
I'm watching a VTuber stream, but I think I can get over. There's actually another show later on that I think that is the case way worse. Where it literally looks like I'm just watching a VTuber stream. But I thought that the stylization was nice. I thought that I don't know. I think this has a lot of potential to be pretty solid, and I am excited to check it out.
Yeah,
I might just be
from,
desperate for bochi, but whatever.
from what I could tell, like this is like an anniversary show for Toei.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're like trying like this like new animation style with the CG, and like the CG looks a little awkward here and there, but like the facial animations like really,
Yeah.
they look incredible. And also like I think this might be based like on an actual band or something, because like all the girls are original voice actors. Like this is like
Oh.
all of their first roles.
That
It's a like mixed media kind of thing. Like this
Yeah.
band existed before the anime got announced. Like they're like an anime.
cool.
I actually listened to the music back in like January. I didn't even realize until like I was preparing. I saw them
Hey.
in my playlist, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is them."
Hey Tim, was the music
yeah.
good?
Yeah, the music's pretty good.
That's
it-
an important first step.
Yeah, I'm sure this is probably like Hi Puffy on Miyumi, if anyone remembers that from
What a
old school
comparison.
Oh, I
Cartoon
do.
Network.
I was big into that when I was like 9.
But I'm sure it's more like a serious like band trying to rise up the ranks.
I
Trying to
think
be
the
popular.
CGI is passable for this, but it's stuff it could be better. Like we just came out of like from the Bang Dream one, and that one I feel like the style and art style fit better.
Was
It's a
that
little bit
fully
rough
CG?
at times?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full CG.
Okay.
So I hate to be like, oh, you should just walk Bang Dream instead, but I think it might be better to watch that one instead of this one. But
I'm at
I don't
least
know,
interested
maybe
to
this
check
one
it out
has
for the-
potential.
Because it's original and it's not part of a franchise.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to check
This
this
is
out.
hardly the worst full CG show that we are checking out this season. So
Oh yeah, no, there's some worse ones in this season.
There's a lot of CG, but yeah, I don't think it hurts it, but it's not doing it any help either.
I think it could make the performance scenes nice, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
Next,
It had some really cool artwork for the visuals before, and then that video dropped, and expectation was like, oh.
maybe.
All right. Next up is Hanoi kun to koi no yamai, or a condition called love. Logan.
Yes. So this one, I want it on record that I hated this one before the guy cut his hair to impress a girl, and that's not the thing that made me hate it. So maybe this suffered a bit from a troubled translation, because it was kind of stiff and weird in a way that a lot of, manga scans can be. But these two leads felt almost completely inhuman. Like, the main girl is convinced that she's incapable of love at, age 16, and if there's any reason for that, we never find it out in the first chapter. And then the main guy is, slavishly devoted to this girl who held an umbrella for him once. Things get, extremely melodramatic way too early on, too. The main guy is like, oh, I'm gonna die for you, and they're screaming at each other, and it's like, you guys just met yesterday, what is this? Where did this come from? And a romance between two complete aliens could be fun if it weren't, secretly just a very stock plot, the popular guy likes the homely girl because she was nice to him, that's it. And I don't know, this didn't work for me as a drama, and it didn't really work for me as, a thing to laugh at either, so I can't recommend it, and I don't think that's just because I don't like romance. I think this is a bad one.
No, I agree. I think that this premise is so incredibly generic. I have trouble seeing what the appeal might be, except for that the main guy is clearly designed to be hot, but I'm not the target audience for that, so suddenly I have no pulls into this and no real reason to watch it. And I don't think the production values are particularly great, nor is the visual design and the styling, the art style of the characters particularly great. So, yeah.
I don't think we should have started with the two most negative reviews of this one, because I was actually pretty impressed with this.
Oh, Juan, be careful. Be careful before you hop forward in front of this show with your big shield. You might be defending mid.
I'm not saying it's secretly the best show of this entire season. No, I've heard good stuff about this manga before. I heard it's
it's crazy because I've literally never heard of it in my life.
I've heard it in the same breath of Horimiya.
Well, Horimiya sucks. So
wait, yeah,
how? Horimiya at least has a a big ensemble cast, and I don't know, whatever.
I think the main two relationship, is what they compared to Horimiya.
Yeah,
because they have a pretty complex relationship in this anime as well.
Mm-hmm.
The main guy is this very more complex guy with abandonment issues, so he comes off really strong, which comes off kind of abusive, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
yeah, just like you're doing right now, Chris. You're prejudging him like this. Come on, man. You're supposed to get to know him.
He has a very
I got to know him. I didn't like him.
Extremist way with how he approaches love, but he doesn't really do anything morally wrong across his line. But I think it's not your cookie cutter romance. So
it doesn't seem that unique to me. Anyway.
I mean, it's definitely not unique, but it's not generic,
It's
right in between.
I'm missing a narrative hook because, like Logan said, girl at 16 years old convinced that romance is not for her, and then a guy that gets.
I mean, that's literally
obsessed.
Any school romance plot,
I don't know.
Yeah, it would be because it's generic.
I am fine maybe checking out episode 1 maybe, but I have extremely low expectations. This just seems like the same kind of boring high school romance show that comes out every 2 seasons. I
mean, if you want, I'll check out. I'm definitely down to check out episode 1 for this. Maybe up to episode 3 for me.
I think this might be a 3-episode show, just to really get a feel of the characters. I really don't know what
y'all are seeing in this based on the trailer. I genuinely.
The trailer looked interesting.
Okay.
And I can see the way the show evolves later on too. All right, next up.
Oh yeah, this one was. Is that you?
Oh, it's me actually. Heijin no salad bowl, or a salad bowl of eccentrics. Now this looks like a very fun show.
Oh wow, that is not my takeaway.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead though.
Okay, so a girl gets transported from another world to modern day Japan, and a detective finds her. I guess she likes Detective Conan, and she falls in love with the series, and she decides to be just like him, a detective. and they do wacky detective hijinks.
That is not what the premise of the show is at all.
Was it not?
No.
At least that's what I got from like the PV.
Okay, so the premise is that there is a guy who is a detective. Like the main man is a detective,
Yes.
and Sarah is a princess from an isekai world who gets isekai'd into the main world, and it's about her learning to be in the main world, and I think maybe helping him solve mysteries, but I can't tell. Like she's like she gets transported from another world.
Right.
So I don't. It's not about her becoming a detective.
Well, I mean, it's like her in the PV, she's like holding Detective Conan, and she says Detective Conan multiple times.
I don't. We obviously can't understand what she's saying, but maybe I don't know. Do they have Conan in her world? I don't know.
No, not in her
I mean,
world.
I think
but,
she
like,
comes to our world and she reads
and discovers Conan, and she's like, "Whoa, I want to be just like
okay.
this." That's the vibe I got.
Okay, sure.
But like from like the shots that they like flashed on the screen, like it looked fun. It looked really fun to me.
I think that this show is very like it is a straight up and down coin toss in whether it could be fun or not. I will admit I have been hurt a little bit by another anime with a similar premise last season, which is Sasaki Topi-chan, which I thought at first was really interesting and then just kind of fell off of a cliff. And it's kind of doing the same.
Well, we're only like halfway through.
My problem with Sasaki Topi-chan is the show gets instantly boring when it becomes an isekai. When they go to the isekai world and do shit there.
I don't know. The last couple episodes have been mid too, but anyway.
I think that's the worst part of it. I think it's better when it's like in his world and then like crazy things escalate.
Sasaki Topi-chan is bad because it's a light novel adaptation, and the light novel parts are the worst, where they just sit around and exposition.
Is this original or is this an adaptation?
This is also a light novel adaptation. We're getting off topic. Anyway, I could totally see this being fun. This trailer was a little bit horny, so I'm a little skeptical of it being like a competent comedy.
I think I got a lot of horny vibes from it.
There's a lot of boob shots. I think that maybe it will be fun. I am not against checking this out. I'm tentative. It needs to be actually funny. Like that is the main hurdle it has to clear. If it's actually funny, then absolutely I'm down to watch it. But if it's not funny, I'm probably not gonna like. There's not much else in this premise that I think.
I have high hopes for this premise for the show at least.
I think having high hopes for shows like this is always a bad idea. There's very few seasonal anime. You should go in with
I won't say high hopes, but I have hopes for this. I'm hoping for this one to be good.
I've just been burned.
I'm hoping this will be the P-chan that we wanted but never got.
I wish P-chan was the P-chan we wanted. Anyway.
All right, next up, we got High Speed Etoile, or however you say that in French.
Speed Etoile, yes.
Etoile.
It's Etoile. Etoile?
Etoile.
Sure.
Etoile.
I don't know. Logan speaks French, I think.
Etoile.
Yeah, you all got close enough.
Etoile.
Anyways, this is an original, so there's not much information about it. It's also a racing anime, which I feel like we went like 15 years, 20 years without any racing shows, and suddenly we have
there's like 8.
4 back-to-back racing show, and it's like, I don't know what's with Japan, but they're on like a racing kick. Anyway, so this is like this, from what I got from the PV and synopsis, it's about this girl who wanted to be like a ballet dancer, but she got injured, so she became a lead instead. And then one day she like visited something and she became a racer.
Because that's how that works.
Premise. It kind of reminds me a bit of Ride Back, who's also like a ballet dancer who gets tossed into something crazy, but it was like a terrorist organization for the anime. But so, anyways, this show is like another full CGI show. It is also not super great.
Yeah,
the background characters
way worse.
Bad. Yeah. I think the main characters looks passable. I mean, most of the PV is cars, and the cars look
terrible.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think it's the worst thing. It's better than the MF Ghosts cars, I think.
They clash really badly with the track backgrounds, and I don't know. It just looks like a cutscene out of a PS3 game. It's very jarring with the rest of the.
They don't blend for well, that's for sure. This is also a studio who's also not known for doing anything really notable or good, and the director is also not known for doing anything notable or good. So like,
this is not lining up to be a good show.
My problem is that despite the bad CGI, which is like obviously an offsetting thing, it just kind of looks like that same kind of like, here's a gigantic cast of like, you know, slightly differently designed anime girls that we're never going to have enough time to get all their personalities fleshed out, because it's not about that. It's about that they're cute girls with different designs.
Just
and
say
also,
it's a waifu bait show, Chris. I think it's much easier to say that.
It also seems to be an idol show, because there are scenes in the trailers of them doing idol songs. And
Wait,
like,
what?
Yes, and like dancing and singing. So
I did not catch that part.
So it's just an
I
idol.
didn't see any dancing idol scenes.
I swear to God that I saw that in a trailer.
I can pull it up real quick.
Anyway, I was never ever gonna watch this in the first place because it just doesn't look very good. So
I mean, like the premise, like kind of interested me.
there's like several. If you want to watch a good racing show, watch Overtake from last year, which I probably should go back and watch. Honestly, like I just don't see the point.
I don't want you to say that because like Overtake is a far better show, but I wouldn't say it's a racing show. It's like a good character drama taking place
Around racing,
in like a racing.
I'd rather watch that
job.
than this.
If I would say MF goes if you want actual racing, but if you want like a compelling good show, then go Overtake.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
I don't think any of us are super hot on this.
No, probably not. I'm skipping this.
Okay. Next up is Jisan Basan Wakegairu, which Logan is going to talk to us about.
Grandpa and Grandma turn young again.
Very on the nose
Yeah,
title.
that's the entire premise. Thank you for telling me what the show's about, Mark. Anyway, I hate these web manga because they're not really even long enough to complain about. Like, the author tells jokes and then they didn't succeed. Whatever. Like, I want to make this clear. I'm very easy to make laugh. It doesn't take very much at all to at least get a chuckle out of me, and I read this whole thing, which is definitely supposed to be a comedy, like completely stone-faced. So, yeah, I can't recommend it.
Why did we let Logan start with these?
No, I read 2 chapters of it and then gave up. But
I think that this premise is really like unique and fun.
At least an anime.
Yeah, I think it's like a fun idea, but I could totally see the execution being a little bit mediocre. I think the visuals are kind of iffy too, so it's like clearly not the most high budget adaptation of this. Let me say my 2 jokes for this, which is that I think that what they're not telling you is that these 2 old people did the Get Out thing and they just stole young people's bodies. But I don't know. I could see this maybe being fine. I could see this kind of being whatever. Like I said, I think it's an interesting enough premise. But I also could see it just being pretty painfully slow and unfunny. So I don't know.
My notes start with Zac Efron stars in 17 again.
Exactly.
Like, cause like, yeah, this is not a common trope in anime, but like, it's very common in the West.
I feel like specifically old
Has
people.
there been a lot of shows like that?
I mean, like Benjamin Button.
It's always middle-aged people. Benjamin Button is not the same idea.
It's not.
Always like middle-aged people becoming teenagers. It's never like grandmas becoming younger versions of themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, the grandma young though.
Oh, she's cute. They're both hot as hell. That's like
and the guy too. He's like hot as fuck. And like in the PV, there's like shots of them like flirting again.
Oh
and,
no,
like, it's very cute.
Yeah, one of my other notes was that I hope grandma getting that good dick again.
Chris, she was always getting that good dick.
I know, but it's different. It's young.
Yeah, but he doesn't need the blue pill anymore.
Yeah. Anyway.
It just slows down. But no, I don't know why we let Logan start with these, even if he did read the manga. Like
that's why.
This is very much
because
like a wholesome like slice of life, not necessarily like a full-on comedy. No,
all right, then you watch it. Tell me what you think of it.
I will, motherfucker.
It's definitely labeled as a comedy on Mal. Anyway,
but like so is like a bunch of other slice of lives, and like
I think
comedy is a aspect
I think
of
there's
it.
comedic elements in there. I don't think it's supposed to be primarily comedy. I think it's supposed to be like a feels good.
Yeah, I think this is supposed to be cute. Which again, if that's the appeal, then I'm down. I think the idea of watching like the old people experience being young again, and I don't know. I think it is a cute premise that has potential. I just don't know if the execution will be there. I'm definitely down to check this out.
I mean, like, in the PV as well, like
the premise alone.
It looks like the power like reverses, and one of them becomes old while the other stays young, and like I'm sure there's like a whole conflict there.
I didn't notice that.
I did.
I thought
that definitely happens in the PV.
Maybe.
So I can see that happening like later on in the show, like episode.
Are you
9,
sure
10.
it wasn't like another old man?
I
Who
think it was a
wasn't, like,
different
her
old
husband.
man, like an old friend.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think those are just different people.
Maybe.
Anyway,
Um,
there's enough here to check out. That's the category where
Yeah, I
putting this in.
100% want to check this out. Like 3-episode rule at minimum.
Though they call each other each
call each
other
other-
Ji-san and Ba-san, which I'm sure is a thing that old people actually do, but I'm like, is that
Yeah.
a little on the nose? Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and they should probably stop doing that when they turn young again and use their goddamn names. But anyway,
Mm-hmm. Well, they are still technically
Yeah.
grandma and grandpa.
that's true.
And like they
just
still
young
hang out with their
grandma and
family too.
grandpa.
Like the whole show is like them hanging out with their family
yeah,
as
their
young people.
grandkids and like yeah. So, okay. Any other thoughts on this one?
I'm watching.
I'm not.
All right, next
Logan
up
can go fuck
is
himself.
Kai to Otome to Kami ka Kushi.
Mysterious
All right.
disappearances.
Oh, that's Kai. I've been reading that wrong this entire time. Anyway, this isn't really very scary, which should be a sufficiently damning review of a horror manga, but I'll elaborate. The first arc is built around the main character feeling old and spent on her 28th birthday, trying not to think about that number,
shit.
and then
Just
reading...
like
and then reading a spooky poem that makes her younger, and then kills her. And those two things feel like they should be related, but they're kind of not. Like, she gets down to age 10 or whatever in the span of 3 pages, and then she's like, I'm 10 years old again, this is great. And then she just starts bleeding out of her everywhere, and that's how she's dying, supposedly. And, like, it feels like it's a setup to some kind of ironic punishment, you know, like, she keeps getting younger until she's a baby or something like that, but it just never reaches a punchline. It's like, yeah, you're 10 years old, now you're bleeding, wonderful. And anyway, she reads a different spooky poem that reverses the effects, and now she's old and spent and 28 years old again, which is kind of anticlimactic, and doesn't really relate to, you know, the thing that they already set up, and I don't know, I guess. Like, it didn't scare me, it didn't really make me think at all, I don't know, this just didn't feel very good at all. Tim has actually seen it, so I'm sure he has some opinions on the first little bit here. So go
Let
ahead
us
and
know
tell
what
me
you
about
think
it.
about it.
I don't think it's supposed to be a horror show. It's more like a supernatural mystery.
What do you
thing.
mean?
This is so
did you get
funny
to
how we're-
did you get to the lewd stuff, Logan? There's a lot of like
I mean, yes,
Fan
no, I
service,
absolutely
okay.
got to
I
her
was gonna say,
tits out.
it's
Like,
pretty
put
horny.
somebody getting their tits out does not mean that you're not a scary movie.
No,
Getting
no,
your
no,
tits
no.
out
I
is a
don't
classic
think-
scary movie move.
I was never feeling that this was supposed to be a scary show ever. I mean, maybe there was like one scene when like the girl collapsed in school, but like it was kind of what's going on, interesting. But it wasn't like it was scary in the same sense that like it was less scary than Miracle-chan, and Miracle-chan was not scary at all.
Well, the manga
So,
is.
the manga
adaptation-
gets pretty
I was
scary.
gonna say
Holy
The
shit.
anime,
adaptation-
the
adaptation
anime
was
version of
poor.
Miracle-chan. Let's say that.
Sure. This gives me a lot of vibes of like that one show from 2 seasons ago.
Dark
Fuck, I
Gathering?
can. That's the one, Dark Gathering.
I feel like
I'm-
it's probably not going to be as scary as that, though. I do think
No.
the production.
Dark
values-
Gathering actually felt like a scary show.
Yeah, Dark Gathering, I think, is like decently competent horror. I think that this feels like it has slightly better production values, but I have no idea if the writing is going to be any good.
Yeah.
I mean, like they really like to point out that she's got huge tits, which I
Dude, in the synopsis, like they make a point of that, like this busty 28-year-old.
I know that's kind of
like,
what turned me off of it.
And then like I'm like, I'm sure she's not that busty. And then
she
like
is.
I pull up the PB, I'm like, holy shit, she's got huge tits.
the honkers are big, to be sure.
They toned down the fan service quite a bit for the anime, and apparently people were very upset about it because I was like,
Wow.
only good thing about the show.
All
But,
right,
like, I'm glad they did because like even in what I saw, I thought it was pretty like fan service already.
I might wait.
So
I might wait to see if people say this is any good because
I mean, like the production values look pretty
It
good.
looks
So like,
nice, yeah.
I want to check it out like just on that, and like also because it's a horror. Like I like
well, it's
horror
more of
stuff.
a mystery. But
It's more of a mystery.
it's,
Yeah,
it's
like
the
a
only
thriller
horror thing
mystery.
is like randomly stuff will start coming out of their eyes, like they'll start bleeding out of their eyes randomly, which is like supposed to be quote unquote scary, but like when they do it like 10 times, it kind of loses its effect.
well, that doesn't sound great.
Anyway,
I was like, yeah,
but
that's
I-
my
like-
complaint about the show.
I don't think it's meant to be like super scary anyways. It's supposed to be like this, supernatural weird things are happening, and the kid and the bossy girl has to figure out who's causing it and solve their problems.
Sure.
It wasn't good at doing that either.
Oh well,
I'm gonna look forward to the fan art once the show gets popular.
that's if it even does
It's
that.
not gonna get.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't think it's gonna
it
get popular, but I think the girl's gonna get popular.
Nah, I don't know. They make girls like her all the time. Anyway, Kaiju number 8.
I've
I'm
heard
glad I get to talk.
so much hype for the show.
Yeah, this has been a.
I'm glad I get to talk about this because so far, like every pre-read, it must make it seem like I just hate anime entirely. And I actually like this. Actually, no, hold on. I'm gonna insult it once really quickly.
Oh shit!
If your character gets turned into a monster, you can't name him Kafka. That is too obvious.
It's true.
Oh no, sorry. One more insult. I think I'd really like to read a manga about cleaning up dead kaiju, and the fact that this isn't that is kind of sad. Okay, anyway, I kind of told you the plot in reverse there. So basically, a burnout guy is working as a member of a kaiju cleanup crew in a world where Godzilla is constantly showing up, wrecking up Tokyo, and then somebody has to kill him, somebody has to come by and then clean him up afterwards. He is the guy who's cleaning up, except he gets turned into a big, strong monster, and now that he's big and strong, he tries to join the kaiju killing crew like he always dreamed. Using his monster powers, but also having to hide them, because if they find out that he's a kaiju, they're going to kill him, obviously. So the design of the kaiju are all pretty solid, and the jokes mostly land like they're supposed to. Like, this isn't a comedy, it's an action show, but the jokes mostly land, which, considering the track record of the last, 5 shows I've been talking about, it feels like it's clearing an impossibly high bar there. Anyway, I'm not, madly in love with this in a way that a lot of people I've seen have gotten. The action gets a little muddy and stuff like that, but that's a pretty easy problem for an anime adaptation to fix, and I'm looking forward to this. I am more than willing to give this a shot. I'm hoping that this turns out good.
Yeah, this has been one of the biggest Shonen Jump manga for a while. I've been aware that this was popular before the anime got announced, and then I was not surprised when an adaptation got announced. I have not read it yet. The preview looks fine. I hope the action stays good and doesn't get a little wonky, which is the only thing I'm worried about. Is that I think if the action is really good, then that'll kind of make or break it. But the premise is fun enough, and I think that obviously it's got a lot of popularity behind it. So one of the biggest shows of the season, for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, when we were introducing ourselves, I like to watch stuff as blind as possible. So I will keep it that way. I did not watch the PV or the synopsis. All I know is what you guys have told me. So I am really hyped for the show because I've heard nothing but good things about this.
The timing's great because Ellie and I just watched Pacific Rim again.
Dude,
and so I'm like,
why wasn't that on our club? Oh,
we can do it again sometime soon. I love that movie. It's phenomenal.
I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
we need to add the new Godzilla on our.
Yeah, I need to watch.
The Shin Godzilla.
The Shin Godzilla, and then also Zero from the one that won the Oscar. This most recent.
Isn't it -1? Isn't that
that's it? Yes, not Zero.
Yeah,
-1.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that was phenomenal, and I'm sad I missed it out on theaters. It's a good time for kaiju movies. Anyway, excited for this one. Tim, any other thoughts about this one?
No, it's I think it's the most hype new season this animated season, which for good reasons. I think IG's going to put it under. I'm a little worried about. I think it's a brand new director leading it.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about that, but I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm just looking forward to watching this on Twitter, obviously.
Yeah. I'm excited for this one. I think it'll be fun. Okay, next. Oh God, fucking hell. Next up, who's doing this one? Tim? No.
No, me, baby.
Juan. Okay.
All right, Kami wa game na iteru, or God's games we play. I've read the synopsis and I watched the PV, and I don't know what this show actually is. It's like a card game, maybe. The genres listed are fantasy, suspense, and ecchi. So I guess it's no game, no life, but way more generic. I mean, it's also a light novel, and that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, this looks atrocious. I don't know what else to say. I really, the premise is extremely difficult to understand.
The premise feels exactly like No Game No Life, except minus the isekai part. I think it's the god comes, appears, and he's like, I want to play the best games in this world.
It's so convenient that the gods are like, bring me the strongest gamer, boy.
Yeah.
Why does that keep happening, huh? Anyway, I also just
And then that one, yeah.
look at the guy's face on the poster. Why is his mouth like that? I feel like his mouth is in the wrong place. It just looks like it's way too high up. I don't know. Anyway, I
think it's too much to the left.
Yeah.
No, I think it's to the
nose?
left.
Anyway, I'm not 14 years old, so yeah, this looks terrible.
And yet it has some of the most members.
What sucks
in
is
Mal.
that it's light in films and that the visuals actually look pretty solid. But oh well, I'm gonna cut that down to wasted potential because I think that there is a 0% chance this anime is any good at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next up.
Next up is Karasu wa Ariju wo Erebanai.
I have the English name. It is A Raven for All Seasons.
Tim is introing this one.
I thought this was the crows does not choose the lords.
That's what I think. That's like one of the books.
Yeah, the crows does not choose the lords is what
Huh.
Mal has it as.
I did not have that there before. Weird.
It's the Raven Fall season is I think is the books franchise.
Maybe. Anyway,
Anyways,
tell us about it.
this is like a court politics anime about people. This like special clan who can transform between humans and crows, and he like forms this one the prince of this court thing forms a pact, and he's solving like conspiracy mysteries inside his kingdom thing. I couldn't really follow exactly from the PV synopsis, but it kind of feels. I mean, I think the most obvious thing is compared to is like
Kusuria.
Well,
because
it's
it's like
clearly
court
supernatural,
politics.
though.
But it's like,
Yeah.
it seems much more supernatural and like drama filled than like the mystery solving Kusuria thing. Also, there's no Mao Mao, and that's like half of the charm of the show.
Well, I think it's a different vibe. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that this looked really interesting. I will admit the character designs are ridiculous. They all have the most elongated triangle faces, like yaoi design.
Like oval.
Yeah,
Yeah, oval.
I think they could all sword fight with their chins. I'm like not exaggerating. It is ridiculous. If you can get past that, I think there's enough here going on to be interesting. I think that the world building seems neat. And there's enough intrigue going on that I am down to check it out. I will say that it seems to be a little yaoi adjacent. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but I think that is kind of the vibe that they're going for.
I
So if you-
disagree. I don't think there's gonna be any other thing, especially because it's NHK and Pure doing it. They're not like really known for doing BL vibe stuff.
Well, I can see them shipping them because it's two pretty boys being paired together. So
sure, except one's like a kid and one's like a grown-ass adult.
that doesn't stop anybody.
I mean, if you really want to, you can ship anything, Chris. But I'll emphasize, like I say, like every time one of these shows comes up, we don't really ever get like court politics drama shows.
Mm-hmm.
So like just that premise alone gets me interested. I'll give it a shot. But I'll agree that the art is not the best.
I don't think it's bad. I just think that it's weird.
It just feels.
Yeah.
It's distracting. I would
Yes,
say
yes.
maybe I just gotta give it like an episode 2 to get
Yeah,
used
get
to
used
it.
to it,
Like how we got used to Ren with the lips.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes some of the like frames in the PVs were like they look kind of off.
Yeah,
but I
they're
think
off.
most of the time it looked okay.
Okay.
I don't know. This caught my interest. Like
me too. I'm gonna
the
check it
whole
out.
like supernatural ravens, and like they were using ravens as like transportation too. Like it like carried big old caravans.
I thought that was
in a way.
them transformed.
It might have been, but either way, there's enough. Like I said, the world building seems cool, so I'm interested.
But it is also like an imperial court drama, so like there's a chance I might not like it. But like I do think that the whole raven aspect will keep me.
There's another supernatural court drama from a few years back called Ravens of the Inner
In the
Palace.
palace, yeah, I heard that one was. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds almost exactly the same.
Well, it's not actual. It's not actual ravens. This is.
They don't actually turn
ravens.
to ravens.
Ah,
Raven's like a medium, I think, or something like that.
Sure.
That one was okay. The ending was really good though, but like, yeah, that's the only thing I really remember from that show.
Yeah. This seems interesting though. I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, it's on my checkout list. Okay, this next one is I don't know, Logan.
This next one is my responsibility. So this is Kenka Dokukaku. And my first huge complaint about this is that the official localized title is How to Fight, which is a way worse name for a webtoon about a guy going viral on World Star than the unofficial title, which is Viral Hit.
Mal has it listed
That was
as
actually a
Viral
good
Hit
one.
is the official title.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Weird. Okay, good. Okay,
So-
good. Then they got it right. They got it right. Anyway, this towers above the average webtoon by making me laugh 2 or 3 times. The plot is kind of as generic as they come. Like, oh boy, another one about a desperately poor guy having to fight people for money. I feel like there have been 6 of those in webtoons alone. And the character designs are really generic, but the image of 2 guys in a heated duel wielding kimchi did make me laugh. I say image because I think that this was the worst action choreography I have ever seen in a webtoon. There is so much white space, it feels like parody, and the characters just kind of like snap into place between panels. And if that seems like a problem for a manga with the word fight in the title, you would be right. This was pretty bad.
I hate the art style. I think that this
The
show
art
looks
style is-
incredibly bad.
It looks pretty ugly.
I warned Logan for even read this manga that to be prepared because it's pretty rough, and I'm glad I was right. This studio, I think it's also a relatively new studio who has not done anything good like ever, so that's also not promising either.
I just think the premise isn't very good. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, like,
Is it the whole premise
Oh, well, you
that
see,
like
you get
bullied?
views, and the views give you money, and then you fight people, and
why
then
did
people watch
he-
you fight people.
he
And...
didn't upload the video of him getting beat up. Why? Did he
Okay,
get
that
the
was a
money?
whole stupid setup. Basically, the guy he was fighting was bullying him into using his computer, and then the fight got uploaded. Like, it just sort of happened by accident on stream, and then it got uploaded by accident. So.
Also,
Yeah.
haha, NewTube.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it's terrible. It's one of the worst, like, goggling McDonald'sing that I have ever seen. I hate it so much.
The one thing that keeps my interest in this show is that there is a man in a rooster mask cheering him on, voiced by Tomikazu Sugita.
That is true.
I don't think that's enough to save them. I feel like at some point
I'm gonna give it one episode.
At some point, there's gonna be a manhwa adaptation that's not just like bad, and it will stop the stigma of like, man, every single manhwa adaptation that gets adapted just kind of sucks. But like, this seems to be continuing the trend. I'm just gonna be real. So why would I?
Yeah.
Wasn't that supposed to be soul leveling?
Yeah, but
Wasn't
it's
soul leveling
not.
supposed
It
to
was
solve
supposed
it?
to be
It's
God
not-
of High School.
It's not. Solo Leveling's not very
No.
good. I'm sorry.
Dude, I've been hearing so much hype about the latest episode, episode 11.
I'm like
so,
6 episodes behind, so who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have
next-
any more to say about this? I
No,
don't think I'm gonna watch
I'm gonna
this.
give this an episode just for the Chicken Man.
I would have to be told specifically that it's quite good to check this out. I have. very
I'll
low
check it out
expectations.
for you, but I'll take the bullet.
Okay. Who's taking the bullet by having to describe this next show? Oh, it's you.
Oh fuck, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, level 2 kara cheat data motoyosha ka koho no matarai isekai life.
Isekai life.
Chilling in another world with level 2 super cheat powers. Why does isekai trash exist?
I
Why
don't
do they
think you
keep
really need to
making
say
them?
very much else. I think the title just kind of tells you what this show is.
Yeah. A guy gets isekai to the fantasy world. He has no power, so he's kicked out. He's confronted by a wolf. Stuff happens, and the wolf is transformed into a cute, big titty anime wolf girl.
Yeah,
And
who
then
is
he levels
instantly in
up,
love with him.
and he has OP powers. Woo!
And then more anime girls show up to be on his dick, and he has a generic character design, and it's the same show you've seen 8,000 times, and there's nothing else for us to say about this.
Chris, if I ever say I want to watch a show like this, kill me. It's not
Yeah.
me.
I know.
I'm pretty sure it's an isekai with the exact same premise this year.
Yeah. It's
The wolf girl is cute, but like I know that is the entire
whole
selling point.
Yeah. It's just the draw. There's nothing else to say about this.
No. We can
Okay,
move on.
I do unfortunately have a couple things to say about this next one.
Oh, do you now?
the next one is Mao no ore ga dore elf wo yome ni shitanda ga do medareba I, which is an archdemon's dilemma. How to love your elf bride. And originally I was like, okay, well maybe it's like a nice wholesome
No.
romance about an elf. So the premise of this one, he's a powerful sorcerer, and there was a big archdemon that just got defeated, and they're auctioning his house, kind of like they do estate sales when old people die, which I think is really funny. And he's looking for, like, grimoires, maybe some artifacts, some bits and baubles, but no, instead he finds a white-haired slave girl elf in chains with a big slave collar on, and he says, I want her, and so he buys the slave. Everyone else is like, oh, why would you do that? I don't know why they're bewildered, but this synopsis wants to tell me that they're bewildered, and I watched the preview and they were all like, why are you buying this slave woman
At the slave trade.
It's not a slave trade, it's an estate sale. There's just a woman at the estate sale.
Oh, okay, I see.
And it's because he fell in love with her. And I was like, and so obviously there's lots of problems with this immediately, which is like, the ethics of purchasing a slave to then fuck is anyway. And then it's supposed to be a romance, but he's awkward and he can't confess to her or whatever, and then I don't know. But my main thing is she keeps the slave collar on the entire time. It's in her character design. It's in every shot. She has this gigantic metal slave collar on her throat at all times.
I mean, the audience has to know that she was a slave.
I know. And I'm like, oh my god. First of all, that has to be wildly uncomfortable. So practically, if she's not a slave anymore, then maybe just take the fucking collar off. But then I realized, no, this is a fetish thing. It's about owning a slave elf, and that's the fetish, and that's what the point of the show is. And then I stopped wanting to think about the show ever again. Do not recommend.
The only good things I say about this show is instead of the guy being a hero, he's like a villain. He's like a demon lord.
He's like a sorcerer. I don't think he's like a.
I think he's like the demon lord.
Okay, whatever.
I think.
Is he?
It doesn't really.
I mean,
this is the
the
one
synopsis
with Mao
is
in the title, and yes,
the
he's
demon
the
lord
demon
took
lord.
a slave here
Yeah,
as
okay.
a wife. So
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see it from that perspective. But otherwise,
I don't think I can condone this. The logo has a big chain around it.
Oh wow.
Does it?
Yes. Go look at
That's a chain.
Yep. Because at the end
It's
of
just
the
like a right circle.
No, it's not. It's a chain. Go watch the end of the preview. It circles around. It's a chain.
Anyways, I don't necessarily think that chains are big fetish things, and
You're so wrong. It totally is.
Okay, well, maybe I'm too pure innocent to not think it's a chain thing, but
I don't know why else.
I feel like this premise does not need that first segment of her being bought out as a slave. I think it could have been.
Yeah, no, he could have just hired
just
her as a
saved
maid or
her
something.
Yeah, hired her or saved
There's
her.
like a million
and
different
this
premises.
exact same premise would have worked.
But no, and that's the thing. I'm not even sure if he frees her. So he there's still that dynamic. She's referred to as the slave elf the entire time. So I'm like, is she still a slave? And then there's all that going on. So I don't know. Anime needs to stop. Anime, I'm gonna put slavery on the shelf until anime grows up, and then to utilize it again as a plot element. Because they just, I think I've said this literally on the podcast before, but they just time and time again prove that they have no capacity to actually handle it with any amount of tact. I think honestly, if it was being a little bit more open about it being a fetish and it was hornier, then I would have less of a problem with it, because then it's it's porn and that's fine. But it's trying to be funny and wholesome. I don't know if we have anything else to say about this except for do better.
Not really.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we got One Room, Hitari Futsu, Tenshi Tsuki, studio apartment, good lighting, angel included. Logan, this is
that
your
title
show.
is the funniest thing about this manga.
Oh boy.
It feels honestly like a relic of a different time. It feels like bad manga don't work like this anymore. There's a girl and she just sort of shows up and starts doing his laundry, and also she's an angel. it's like vaguely comparable to like Helpful Fox Senko-san, but Senko-san was way too tasteful to immediately promise to devolve into a harem like the cover page of Volume 1 does. And harem shows these days are like, you know, these enormous screwball comedies with like 100 girlfriends or constant shouting or whatever. And so it's really weird to see one that's just so laid back in its approach to not making me laugh. This was numbing in like the scary getting dental work done kind of way. Like you think back on the whole chapter and realize that basically none of it mattered even to the narrative of the work. And like, I don't know, I don't know what to do with this one except to not recommend it.
You know, this looks like a very cute show, and that's probably the reason why Logan hates things that are cute. Like to me, I feel like this is the perfect Mark show. You know,
this does feel like a Mark show.
Yeah,
especially after that other shows he's shown us before.
Yeah, and like if the main character was like an adult, I'd be able to like relate more with him. But like, no, this is like a high schooler. He's like still going to high school. I'm like, nah. Like,
just pretend he's an adult going to college.
Nah.
I have no idea what the fuck y'all are talking about. This show looks terrible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a perfect girl show. You know, just like
I don't think Mark would like it either. I feel like you're doing him dirty. I feel like he has better standards than this. What's up with the guys in Japan? Do they just want like a hot girl to come and be their mom and do all their chores, and but
yes,
also
Chris,
not be their mom because they're the same age?
That's
and so
exactly
it.
Yes.
Ruins the point of being of the appeal of that in the first place. I don't know.
You figured it out.
Because like this is just very similar to. I know it has the same name. I know she's literally an angel versus the last one. Like the angel next door spoils me rotten is like more of a romance, but it's just like I'm a lazy piece of shit neat who just fucking it has a messy room and has no prospects in life. I'm gonna have a hot girl fix me, and I'm like, come on, are y'all okay? Do y'all really need this kind of wish?
Maybe this is the girls' version of I Can Fix Him.
Yeah,
like how we have
I can be fixed.
But there's just
I can be fixed. What an insane genre name.
Okay. We've done it. We've
saved this. It. Holy shit.
Anyway, are any of us actually interested in the show at all?
If Mark begs me to watch the show, I'll watch it with him.
I've never heard him talk about it, so I don't think he will. Okay,
he keeps things secret from you sometimes.
I guess that's true.
So this is Spice and Wolf Merchant meets the Wise Wolf, which is basically a complete readaptation of the first season of the original anime back in like, I don't know, 2007 or whatnot.
I think 2006, yeah.
2006. It was around that time. A lot of people didn't know what it was going to be. I think a lot of people here thought it was going to be a sequel.
Yeah, I thought it was season 3 when it was announced.
I also thought it was season 3
because it was such a meme. It was like a meme for so long. That was like it was like Haruhi and this that were like the never getting season 3 train or whatever.
I mean, maybe we'll get season 3 after like
if they go.
Maybe they'll do the full adaptation.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's why, because otherwise I don't see a reason for a remake.
That's kinda,
I still think the first season holds.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is I don't really. This is one of the. It's not like Fruits Basket where they didn't like. Obviously they didn't finish it originally, but we're like it's been long enough, and I think it could really use a modern adaptation. Like the old Spice and Wolf still looks great. Like it has great animation. I don't know. It seems like a weird one to pick.
At the same time, like. No one else here has seen Spice and Wolf. So, maybe this would be like the show that will get you to be like.
I would almost rather watch the original, unless I hear this one as a better version. I don't know, because the original's been on my short list for a long time.
So it's Passion, and Passion used to be the studio that did the original Spice and Wolf, I believe, if I remember I
think it was not actually. I think it's the
logo.
same.
No, they became Passion.
Oh, okay, they turned into it.
Like the studio that did Spice and Wolf no longer exists, and it became Passion. And that's why they're doing it. I think it's the same director and the same like cast and staff. So I have hopes that it will be good. I don't know. I have very like sentimental attachment to it. But
yeah, it's a classic. Yeah,
it's a classic.
I mean, do you think, as us who have never seen this show, do you think we should start with this remake?
I can't say without watching
we have to.
But I hope that, regardless, you should watch 1 to 2, the original remake, but you should watch Spice and Wolf regardless.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's been on my short list for.
It's a classic.
Yeah. So it's crazy that none of you guys here have seen it.
Yeah, I can't watch everything.
Based on the fact that Noah's been announced, they are just gonna adapt the entire first season. It seems like.
Okay, well, I'm sure everyone who's into it and watched the original will want to take another crack at it, see if it's just as good. But I don't know. I feel like other fans just kind of wish it was season 3 instead.
Yeah, I'm sure too.
Okay. Next up we have Ooi Tonbo, which we talked about before. Logan.
Yeah, so Ooi Tonbo. Fun fact, this wasn't serialized in a manga magazine. It was serialized in a golf magazine. That may be why I could only find like 20 pages of it anywhere, and that may also be why it wasn't very good. It's a little unfair to judge something purely by how uninspired and poorly delivered its exposition is. That's kind of all I have to go on here, and it sure felt pretty bad. Like, it's got the classic, like, character explaining his life story to nobody in particular, a guy with a single-minded obsession on whatever the subject of the manga is, which is golf, I don't know, it wasn't very much to look at either. There's nothing here to recommend. If this has like an insane trailer, then go ahead. But from what I've read of it, I didn't like this at all. Okay, cool.
I am so sorry to say, but there are 2 golf shows this season, and after having looked at both, the other one, Rising Impact, looks way more interesting than this. So I will probably not be watching.
Rising Impact is better.
I will probably not be
Where
watching
is that?
this
I
one.
don't think I have
It was
in my notes.
It's an ONA. It's a Netflix ONA.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
why I couldn't. Okay.
Rising Impact's number 23, and it doesn't come out until June, I think.
Oh, that's almost summer. Damn.
It's like, yeah, it barely made the cut in for.
It's going to be.
Do we
batch
still talk
release.
about it then? Or
Yeah,
should
it's still
we...
it's still in the season.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 batches.
Okay.
So
Either way,
one batch in June and one batch in August. So we should be.
I do think it's fucking sweet that a manga was serialized in a golf magazine. That's
yeah,
that
is it is kind of neat.
But aside from that, yeah, I kind of wish that I don't think this is going to fill the birdie wing shaped hole in my heart. There's not going to be any rocket launchers, and
no.
I think that it just looks a little paint by numbers as far as sports anime goes, and I'm kind of failing to find a hook that would get me interested. Like, and I thought that before I watched the trailer for Rising Impact, which I will get there when we get there, but literally just looks better in about every way possible. So I don't know.
Man, I'm really surprised. And like, I guess because I didn't know about Rising Impact, but like, I thought this would be your thing right here, Chris, considering it's a golf anime. And like, it seems to be like a more serious.
Because I liked one golf anime.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, you're a slut for golf. You've pronounced that many times before.
I do like golf. Okay, yes.
You like golf more than anyone I know.
I don't like watch it all the time.
You don't, but like you like playing it.
It's because my family, like, my dad plays a bunch. Yeah, but anyway.
But like, this seems like a pretty like serious take on golf, like a little girl becoming a pro over time. Like this looks really cool.
Getting taught by an ex-pro or whatever. Yeah, I think it's.
Are you gonna check it out, Chris?
Probably not. Like I said, if there's, I cannot see myself watching 2 golf anime in a single season.
I mean, the other one doesn't come out till like the end of June. So
I can maybe watch episode 1,
like...
but I just to see if it's like anything, but probably not.
Yeah, I want to give this like episode 1.
Sure, I'm down. All right, next on our list, slightly out of alphabetical order, but it's an ONA and we missed it originally. We got a new Netflix ONA called Grim Kumi Kyoku, or The Grim Variations, which Tim has told me is an anthology based on the Grimm fairy tales. I guess the Mal page is telling me that too, now that I look at it.
Right.
So this is from Wit, which is a pretty big studio, and I'm down for like a Studio Wit anthology. That feels like something a little out of left field that I haven't seen, but I'm down.
Yeah. Oh, I'm totally down for this. But like, this was like just announced, so we don't have like a ton of information. We just have like the PV, so we just have like a little bit of animation to go off of, and the basic synopsis of it. But I mean, it's anime Cinderella, or what are the Grimm tales like? I
don't think Cinderella is one of the Grimm tales.
Like early Disney, right?
It is, isn't it? But not like
Hansel
the
and Gretel.
Disney's version. Of
I think
Cinderella,
Hansel and
but, like,
Gretel's Grimm. I don't remember.
It's definitely Grimm.
I always get that Grimm mixed up with Hans Christian Andersen, so I don't know.
Well, what stories did he make?
He did The one that became
Little Mermaid?
Frozen and The Little Mermaid, probably the
Oh.
two most notable ones. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Snow White is also Grimm's.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a mix. We'll either way,
Yeah.
we'll find out if we watch it, but I think conceptually this is enough to like check out. So
It's also like May when it comes out. So it'll be like a little
it
bit
is
later.
starting in April.
It's in April.
So it's actually
April.
it's coming out around the same time the season
Oh, okay.
starts.
Okay, never mind then.
Cool.
Alright,
All right.
Next up, Re-Monster.
Re-Monster.
All right, Re-Monster. Man, we're back in the Isekai's zone.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say like, oh, is this like a new take on the Isekai genre? Like, wow, that's really cool. But then this is actually pretty similar to Slime Isekai.
It's extremely similar to Slime Isekai.
I mean, like, the difference is that, like, instead of reincarnating as a slime, he reincarnates into a goblin. Whoa. And he becomes, like, an OP goblin boss, and he raises a group of strong goblin friends, and they become a goblin villain group. It sounds
should become
cool.
a goblin villain group, I think.
We're the goblin villain group of the anime community.
Exactly.
The nut barb. But, like, I feel if I was, like, really early in my anime career, like, I would have been, like, pretty down with this, but, like, I'm jaded, bro. Like, I'm tired of this.
It doesn't help that like this exact formula has kind of been done a couple of times, and honestly, the visuals are not really helping me to make this seem like it's standing out in any particular way. I don't think this anime will be particularly awful, but like it's Studio Dean, it's probably not going to be the prettiest looking show either. I'm sure this is going to just kind of boil down to being a mediocre light novel adaptation, which, sucks to suck, but that's what it is.
Yeah, like it's just gonna be fine.
So if you're into reincarnation, like the new isekai twist of reincarnated as an XYZ, that's not a joke, like this one's being played straight, then go for it. This is that kind of show. But also there's a new season of Slime Isekai coming out, so just get caught up and watch that instead. It's probably better.
Probably.
Anything else? Any other thoughts before we move on?
Nah, man, it's Isekai. You already know us. We're probably Isekai's #1 biggest hater.
I wouldn't necessarily wear that brand. I mean, let me rephrase. I am, but I don't want to associate our podcast with that kind of brand.
You are. I am. Logan is. Tim is. Individually,
Tim watches
we wear
them.
that brand.
Tim watches
maybe
them.
not Tim. I think Tim gives Isekai more of a chance.
All right.
Anyway.
Moving on to more sports. Tim, tell us about Rinkai.
Well, there isn't much to say about Rinkai.
Yeah.
It's like an original / mixed media thing, so there's no source material to go off of. It's basically the women's bicycle sports racing competition. It's from TMS, who's done like anything from like Detective Conan to like Rent a Girlfriend to like Fruits Basket. So they're like qualities are kind of all over the place. It's really hit or miss with them. The director also has like literally nothing under his belt.
Great.
I want to say he's done like singular episodes of a couple of shows, but like nothing that to really like sell him on. And the trailer was just a bunch of cute girls doing racing. It's the bicycle racing where you like do laps a bunch. I don't know if there's like a specific
It's like track. It's not like a cross country. It's like a track. Yeah. Dude, the CGI in this one is ugly.
I was gonna say exactly that.
Yeah, it's not the
looks
best
bad.
looking CGI. There's a lot of bad CGI this season. This is like
Top 2, I think, for me at least.
Top 2 worst.
It looks like it's only the bicycling scenes
Yeah,
and they could navigate around that with like
it looks so jarring, and it's so much work. Like my notes were like, I think that the cycling segments would take me out so much I couldn't watch the show or take it seriously.
I mean, that's half the show,
So, and the problem is that the other half of the show is a mixed media project, so that it's meant to like stuff as many girls as possible into it. And those types of shows are not usually very good, so I'm not very interested in this one, unfortunately. I think if the sports segments were like watchable, that would be something.
This is very clearly like a waifu bait show.
Yeah.
So I'm out.
Honestly, between this one and the car racing one, which are kind of similar in idea, I would probably, if I was forced to pick one, I would probably pick the car one. So I don't know.
Forced by gun.
Yeah,
Like-
to be like watch a mediocre sports idol the show.
CG show.
Yeah. Anyway,
You're like, I'd be like, just shoot me.
Okay.
Just
moving on.
me out.
Logan, tell us about yet another sports anime, but one that actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, so from your perspective, there were a couple between this, but from my perspective, I literally read Ooi Tonbo and then I read Rising Impact, so it was just like the golf double feature for some reason here in the middle of spring 2024.
Hey, Birdie Wing's
And,
influence is changing the industry.
Yeah, this was serialized in a manga magazine, so it was actually kind of adequate. I felt like it felt like a pretty, standard setup for a sports show. The rural child secretly good at golf thing was exactly what they were doing in Ooi Tonbo 4 shows ago. But anyway, annoying child likes hitting things far, quits baseball for golf because golfers hit things farther than baseball players.
Hard to argue.
He's really good at the long ball because he chops trees. The main
Can I
girl
interrupt you
is
real quick, Logan? I think
What?
it's
Go
really
ahead.
funny that the 2 sports shows this season so far are baseball and golf. So for this show to be both
Baseball
this
and
kid grew up
golf,
on
yeah.
baseball. Now I'm gonna do some golf. Like I think that's really funny.
It is funny.
the 2 sports that there are.
Exactly.
Anyway, the main girl is stern and sensitive about being called old, even though she's in her 20s. The only thing here that doesn't really feel kind of like bought off the rack is background art, which was like really detailed, and the kind of jungly landscape looked really nice. I have no idea if that's how rural northern Japan actually looks, but I liked looking at it. I
believe
just
it.
didn't really like reading it all that much, so
Oh, that's a shame.
this was fine. This was not like a bad thing. It was just I wasn't super into it, and I don't think I'm going to be pursuing the anime.
So based on
Really?
the trailer, it's obviously it's a Netflix show, and Netflix productions tend to be a little bit higher quality. So it like looks pretty solid. The character designs are really good, and the production values seem to be competent. And like that alone, I think is enough to at least give it the like cursory check it out. If it's a fun, solid show, it's got a lot of hot golf milfs in it. I mean, that's got to be worth something.
That's all you gotta say to sell it to me, brother.
There was a lot of like mid-20s to 30s women hitting golf clubs in the trailer. So anyway, I think this one seems fine. I could totally see it being just kind of mediocre and whatever, but I could also see it being fun. So I'm at least gonna check it out. I think, like I said, I think I mentioned or hinted at this earlier. This is the sports show that I think has by far the most promise, maybe with the exception of that map of baseball one, but like Logan seemed to really not like the beginning of the manga. So we'll see.
This was my favorite of the sports manga that I read.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this definitely has like some potential to like be like a pretty good show. Now, granted, it is gonna start late. It starts like in June.
Oh wow, that's right. It starts in June. That's crazy.
It's probably gonna be a 2-part batch release.
I see.
Half of it is gonna drop in June, and the other half is gonna drop in August.
Interesting.
You think like 6 episodes and 6 episodes, or 12 and 12?
I mean, it's who knows? It's fucking Netflix.
It's Netflix.
Yeah, it could be anything. Anything else on Rising Impact? It is wild that there's so many golf anime all of a sudden after like I literally can't think of another golf anime before Birdie Wing. There might have been one or two.
I'm sure there was something before Birdie Wing, but like it probably wasn't that popular.
Crap, there's a manga that I keep thinking of.
The
Yeah, it's
robot
my tongue.
golf anime.
Yeah.
Golf manga one.
Robot something.
Oh, I have heard
Robot
of that.
laser
The
beam?
laser eyes.
Yeah.
The thing.
Okay.
Don't- that
I
one
was
put out
gonna
pretty
say
quick.
Mario Golf. That was my joke.
There you go.
Okay, next up on the list is that's right. Logan has to intro the Yuri. Woohoo!
Yep. Wait, no, it's not next up on the list.
That's not next up.
I know.
Are we
I
not talking about
fucking
Sandland?
didn't pull up Sandland when I was redoing this. Sorry, give me y'all start talking. And I'll get it.
Unprofessional.
Man,
All right,
do the fucking
The magic of
timetable.
editing will save me from everything.
Well, go fuck yourself.
So Sandland the series has maybe taken on a little significance that it wasn't necessarily meant to in the wake of Akira Toriyama's passing a couple of weeks ago. It's basically Mad Max set in Dragon Quest. The world is a bombed out desert. The human king controls all the water. The demons and also this one human are working to find a secret source of water somewhere in the exceptionally dangerous south, which is also reminded me of Dune. The character designs are really solid, even if a couple of them are clearly Toriyama playing the hits. Like the Demon King is Satan, and he is literally just Dabura from the Boo arc, like the exact same character design.
Dude, it really makes me wonder if like it just straight up is Deborah before Dragon Ball or something. Like he just like travels between worlds.
Yeah, he's just hanging out in Mad Max land, and then he like heads on over to Dragon Ball to get geeked by Goku.
Yeah.
But the action is really solid. I mean, it's Toriyama. It's what you would expect. Also, the manga is like short. I think it was only like 15 chapters. I didn't read all of it. But the anime is going to be a complete story, probably. So that's good news. And I watched the trailer a bit because there's apparently a movie out that is already like the first part of this or something. And it's full CG, but it looks pretty nice by the standards of full CG. I think especially the Toriyama's character designs, I think, work a little bit better in CG than a lot of anime character designs do. So I think that this is this isn't gonna live up to being like the first big Toriyama thing after his passing per se, but I do think it's really neat, and I'm willing to give it a shot. And this is actually one of the ones I'm more excited for out of these.
I really like the visual design on this show. Yeah.
As a resident Dragon Ball head, so this is using the same art style as the Dragon Ball superhero movie, which came out after Broly. It was like 2022, something like that. So it's a great art style. Like it absolutely makes the CG work. It looks really good.
Yeah, I thought the trailer looked great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see it. I really want to know what the order of operations is with the movie and the series, because like I only heard about the movie first. And then,
so the movies is inside the series.
Okay.
So they made the movies first, and then inside a TV show. And the first 6 episodes of the TV show, or I think 5 or 6 episodes, is the movie content, just flat out.
Okay.
And then episode like 6 onwards is like the brand new content TV show exclusive.
Is the rest of the TV show going to? I've heard it's gonna go past the manga because the manga's not very long, and I've heard that they're doing new stuff.
I think it's.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think it's original content. I will say that it is a huge like tonal shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when they do like a Disney movie and then they make like a Disney TV show for
show.
some goddamn reason.
How
It's exactly
appropriate.
what it is, because the movie is this very like intense, well compact, you know, high stake narrative. And then as soon as it's over, it feels such a different show.
Yeah, this one's
It's
already
kinda
out,
insane.
by the way. Like, for the record, like it's
Oh,
you can
okay.
yeah.
They batch dropped the movie
it, yeah.
content. So the movie and then the first new episode has been released as
I was looking at a review that ANN had a review for the new episode, and so that's kind of what I was basing this off of. But it's gonna be 13 episodes. So I mean, I'm definitely down. Maybe we should just watch the movie as movie night some night, and then,
I don't think the
that'd be
movie
nice.
is out.
damn. Well, we could just
And
binge
according
the
to the
series. Yeah.
forums,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first 6
Movie.
episode has 20 minutes of new content if you care.
Well, maybe we should just watch the show then. Anyway,
Alright.
it's cool to see a Toriyama work that's not Dragon Ball related. So I'm excited to check it
Mhm.
out.
Logan, do you see when this came out, like manga wise, like
I think it
2005 or
was-
something?
Yeah, it was like 2000, early 2000.
Early 2000s. Okay, so like this was probably like the only thing he worked on between like Dragon Ball and when he came back for the Battle of Gods.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, and like I know that he was working on this project for a while, like which is it's such a shame about his death, because like he was literally working on like 3 more projects,
Yeah.
and then he suddenly
Mhm.
dies. So like for like him to die and not being able to see the fruits of his projects, that really sucks.
We're on a little bit of a tangent,
Yeah.
but the thing about Dragon Ball specifically is that, like, I'm assuming some of those projects were related to the Dragon Ball franchise. Is that they've done a really good job of making Dragon Ball more into a brand than a series. So you can really, like, kind of the way that Marvel comics and like DC comics are. you could totally hand the reins over to some like artist that trained under Toriyama, and like it's gonna still feel like Dragon Ball. Like maybe it'll be a little bit different, but you know, like it's not like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby made Spider-Man the whole time, and yet Spider-Man still feels like Spider-Man today, 50 years later or whatever. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you say that in like Toyotaro, he's the one that's been taking care of the Dragon Ball Super manga for the past while.
yeah, so then like I said, the series is in good hands, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch this.
Oh, dude, I'm like, I was like okay on Sandlands like beforehand, but like now since the death, I'm like, I'm 100% checking this out. Like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, now Logan can shit on the series.
Yeah. All right. So I've
name.
known how. Okay, fine. Sasayaku yo ni koi wo utao.
And the English name is "Whisper Me a Love Song."
I've known how I'm gonna die for a long time. I don't know when.
What a way to
But
start.
I know for sure. But I know for sure that one of these seasons, one of these romance manga is gonna piss me off so thoroughly that I'm gonna have a brain aneurysm, and that's gonna be it. And when I got to the fourth to last page of Sasakyo yo no koi wo utao, I thought that my time had come. I survived, possibly out of spite, to regale you with the story of the least frustrating Yuri anime. So, page 2, main girl number 1 admits that she's fallen in love with main girl number 2. And I'm like, oh, damn, they're going for it. Page 14, she confesses her feelings to main girl number 2. And I'm like, oh, damn, they're going for it. Page 27, main girl number 2 confesses to main girl number 1 that she also fell in love at first sight. And I'm like, oh, damn, they're going for it. Like, I was seriously about to call this Yuri of the Year just because anything was happening in it. And on page 29, there's a misunderstanding. And instead of explaining what she meant to the girl that just confessed to her, main girl number 2 just doesn't? So, let me walk you through this one more time from the beginning. Both girls know what lesbians are. They know how they feel about the other. They have confessed their feelings to each other. And they are still not dating because romance manga are evil. No points, no recommendations. May God have mercy on your soul. This made me really
Logan.
mad.
Logan, you've never met actual lesbians?
That's actually extremely accurate.
I don't care if it's accurate. It's so frustrating.
Tag in like Zuzu on the podcast and see,
Yeah.
see how accurate
She's
it is.
downstairs. I can go
We
get her.
could- No. So I first of all, Logan, it's very cute that you react this way. I welcome. You should read more Yuri manga. Actually, you shouldn't. It would kill you. This shit. I feel like I've seen premises like this before. However, I think just in that this is a proper Yuri, and like it's clearly like Logan said, they're admitting that girls can like girls, and that's a thing that can happen in the world, which is not usually a thing that even gets acknowledged in most of these fucking shows. That's a big plus. I've heard some okay things about this manga. I'm gonna check this out. I'll see. Like everything Logan described sounds like it would happen in episode 1, and that's more than enough to like
Yes.
get a feel for if it, can work on its own merits or not. And then maybe I'll watch episode 2 and see if it seems like it's gonna be drawn out and obnoxious, or if it's like, a narrative that works.
I'm surprised you're not more in on this. Like, I thought this would be like 100% your shit, Chris.
I mean, it's one. I've watched a lot of Yuri premieres in my time. Like a lot of them are not very good, unfortunately. I think it looks very nice. The visuals are very good. The preview looked nice. I'm definitely gonna check it out. But I just also wish that they would make more of Bloom Into You. Just adapt more of that. We have a good one already.
How far did Bloom Into You get into?
It's only got a 13 episode, 1 core season of a manga that like went on for a lot longer than that. So
But no, I mean, I'm definitely down for this. Like, it definitely sounds like a slow burn, considering that like it's a big old misunderstanding within the first chapter. So I'm really curious on like how this is gonna like pan out, and like I hope that they're brave enough for them to like actually like get together sooner than later.
This is a real Yuri. It's not.
Yeah,
It's like you can look at the poster. It's not like fucking a bait show where it's
Adachi.
yeah. Adachi's a real Yuri. It's just the fucking slowest paced. God, I cannot believe I wasted my time watching that show. Insanely slow pace. I don't think anything will be that slow. Anyway, except for like Nisekoi.
Anyway, I'm down to see these girls kiss.
We'll see about that.
I hope you get to. I don't like your chances.
Great. Tim, any opinions here?
I think it's pretty. The girls are cute. I'm definitely checking it out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We actually have a runner on Yuri shows. Or no, wait. Yeah, back to back.
Oh, sure. Oh,
So-
I would not consider this like a.
It's literally tagged. Girls
Is it
love
tagged
in the
as-
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I missed that part, I guess.
Okay, go.
And apparently it gets really into it in the manga.
Oh,
It's
shit,
a light novel.
and it's me that
Yeah,
I'm.
it's
I'm
you.
introducing
Or the
it.
light novel, I
Haha.
should say.
Talk to us about it.
All right, Seiyu Radio no Urawa Mote. The many sides of a voice actor radio. It's funny that I wrote this into my notes. Oh no, guys, I'm gonna be late for voice actor school. I think it's really crazy that this is like the first time we've seen voice actor school. We got fucking VTuber school before voice actor school. Like, what the hell?
Mhm.
I think that they don't go to voice actor school. I think that they are both voice actors that are in the same
I promise
school.
you, in the synopsis, they say voice actor school.
They say 2 high school voice actresses who just happen to attend the same school.
Hmm.
And it coincidentally gets placed into the same class.
They are, I think, because they're famous, they get to be the host of this radio program. And then the conception, I'll just go. The conception of the show is, or the concept is that they on air they're very friendly. They play off each other very well. They have great chemistry, but off air they kind of hate each other. That's like the premise of the show.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of about how they grow to become friends, and like I think they become idols too, based on the trailer.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How the
Did
fuck
you watch
did I
the
miss
trailer?
idol
Yeah.
part? I did.
Well, look at the poster. Like
Well,
they're
okay, you know what? If I'm looking at the key art, yeah, it looks like they become
so
idols.
I don't know. I think there's enough merit here to like maybe be interesting, but also I don't know.
I think this could be really fun.
We'll see.
Quiet Girl, Chika, and the Gyaru Yumiko are complete opposites. Like,
We'll
I
see.
think this will be fun.
Well, this is another one of those shows where the writing and character like choices and dialogue is gonna have to be like good. So we'll see. But I think the premise is fine. So I don't know. And hey, if it actually is a Yuri, then that's something.
I mean, like the last time we got like a radio show, fuck, I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah.
That show was
radio
good.
Rave,
to
listen
you.
to me.
That show was good.
yeah.
Radio Wave, listen to me.
I don't think
Wave, listen to me.
the thing
yeah.
is, one, I don't think this show is gonna focus much on the radio. So
Which is a shame. 'cause,
Mhm.
I think more radio shows should be a thing.
It's not just modern day Rakugo.
Don't worry about it.
could be. I think that might be why radio comedy is more popular in Japan.
Huh. Maybe so.
Makes sense.
All right. Okay. Next up.
All right. Sentai Dai Shikaku.
Go,
first of all,
loser
don't-
ranger.
Is that what they're calling
That's the
it?
English name.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, don't put from the author of Gotobun no Hanayome on your cover page, because even people who like that manga don't like that manga. I don't know why you would advertise
What
that.
manga is that?
That's quintessential quintuplets.
Oh.
Which is
I
insane to put on because this show is nothing like that at all.
Yes, also true. Also true. But anyway, the setup here is that a group of evil aliens attack the Earth every Sunday and are repelled by a Sentai team, except the aliens' bosses have been dead for like years, and the matches they have with the Sentai team are totally fixed to make them look good. And if there are parts of that setup that don't make sense, like why don't the aliens just leave, or how do the humans benefit from this arrangement? Fair. I don't have great answers for those, but I think that this does do a pretty good job of kind of selling the indignity of the arrangement, at least. Like, you get to the first thing you see is the I guess the evil aliens trying to come up with like a cool thing to fight the Sentai team, and they're all just so like, oh, we've been doing this for like so long, we don't have any new ideas anymore and stuff like that. And the actual premise here is that the main character is one of those foot soldiers who, like, infiltrates the Rangers, and his, what's it called? Like, he's sneaking into the Rangers, and he is going to kill the 5 big Rangers, because I guess they have these, like, huge Ranger outpost things that have, like, 1 million less important Rangers running around in them. Anyway, I think that the main character's pain is conveyed pretty well, but like chapter 2 gets a little too intense, a little too soon, and the villains all seemed kind of generic. And I was like into it at first, but like by the end of the second chapter I was kind of falling off of it. Like this is the kind of show where like if someone comes back and tells me like, yeah, this is good, you're gonna like it, just give it a little bit more rope, then I'll give it a shot. But as of right now, I'm not particularly interested in continuing.
Okay.
That's crazy to me.
So I don't know if Juan feels the same way. This was the first trailer that really surprised me.
Me too.
That I watched. I was like, oh, this actually looks kind of sick. This is a really cool trailer. The visuals are excellent. And it seems very wacky and weird. Okay, so I'm sure Tim was going to talk about this, but this director is Keiichi Sato. Doesn't do very much. He kind of like does a project every like couple of years. The last anime he directed before this is fucking Inuyashiki in 2017, so it's been a while. But he also did the Shingeki no Bahamut shows. He did the Gantz Zero one. He's the guy who did Tiger and Bunny way back in the day. So he's got like a style of doing these kind of big bombastic action shows that are a little weird. And I think that alone is worth checking out based on like, you know, it's a unique enough premise. I'm sure that the narrative is a little clunky, but maybe they'll do a better job of explaining the setup in the show. But I am definitely checking this show out. It seems really interesting, at least. Like I said, it was a cool trailer. Very, very good visuals.
The production values were like insane. Like in my notes, I wrote down that the synopsis didn't really impress me, but then the trailer itself, I'm like, whoa, this makes it look really fucking cool. So this is like absolutely like one of my most anticipated shows of this season, because like it just looks that good to me.
I mean, honestly, if the trailer looks that nice, I might just hop back on.
Yeah,
like this was a very.
I mean, you also
soft
only got through the
drop,
first two
so-
chapters, so like
Yeah, exactly.
that's probably just episode 1. Tim, you got anything else here?
No, the production looks good. Like you guys said, I've been kind of on a Sentai kick lately. There was like Sentai, but the villain wants to chill. There was Sentai, but they fall in love. You know, there's been a lot of Sentai shows lately. They've all been kind of fun. So I'm down to like add this to my collection.
Oh, one thing I do want to add. I looked at the studio, Yoastar Pictures.
yeah.
I don't know if this is a good sign or not. They mostly just do gacha game adaptations. So Arknights, Blue Archive, Azure Lane.
Fascinating. Oh, they're also doing the golf anime that's coming out in the summer, because there's another one too, by the way. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Summer Golf?
Yeah, Soraro Utility.
That's
That's
the one.
not confirmed.
Oh, well.
They
It'll
have
be
a date. It's
that one-
2025.
It says 2025.
Oh, never
on
mind.
here.
I just remember
That's
hearing
like-
the. I thought that was going to be this year, but unrelated.
No.
Advertising that a year out.
Golf.
But no, Yoastar Pictures doing a bunch of gacha makes sense because Yoastar is literally the studio that does the gacha games.
Interesting. So
So-
for them to like branch out and
It's
to
like
do
side
this
games,
manga
Yeah,
adaptation.
Sentai is like the weird one out, not
Yeah,
the
for
other
sure.
way around.
Yeah. That's
it
what
is
I'm saying.
interesting. Okay,
So I hope that means like good production values.
me too. Okay, next up is Shumatsu Train Doko e Iku, or Train to the End of the World. This is one of the shows I was looking forward to this season. It is a show about a town in the suburbs where these girls find this train. It's like an abandoned train. And they take it and it like just leaves and kind of goes to a different world or a different dimension. There's also a really cute dog. Always in for that.
Always up for that.
This just seems to be a cool little like modern fantasy show with an interesting premise, and it looks nice. I'm super in on this. I am down for this like fun little mystery show.
What's really interesting is that the description says that this show was made to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the first ever railway in Japan.
Hell yeah, train anime.
So like I
based.
didn't hear about this until I was doing the research. So like I was expecting like, you know, just like another like waifu bait cute girl cash grab. But then like in the actual PV, you can see that there's like a lot of passion put into this. Like this is like very clearly a passion project.
Yeah.
Like-
And it's like a new original with an original like premise, and that's enough to usually get me to watch stuff because, you know, not
Like
Not
this
as
kind of
often.
feels like Shoujo Shumatsu without like the dread, the underlying
sure.
dread.
It's not an apocalyptic show, but I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it could. I think it could
feel
get
is
dark.
kind of
I mean, no,
apocalyptic. 'cause they're
I
like-
could definitely see this like getting like dark too.
Yeah. So it's very mysterious. We don't really know much about what it's going to be about, which I mean, I think is part of the draw. But I would tentatively put this as one of the ones I'm at least the most excited to check out.
Oh, 100%. Like the PV also looks incredibly good.
Yeah.
Like, man, like leave it to the train artists to pour their heart and soul into a train anime.
Exactly. I also can't stress this enough. I really like the dog. He's very cute.
True.
Speaking of dogs, Logan.
Is that the transition we're going with?
Hold on, what?
Damn, you're gonna cuck Logan and I from putting.
Oh, sorry. Would
comments?
you have any more you want to talk about this? Maybe I got ahead of myself. I can save that for later. Well, go ahead.
Shumatsu? Logan?
Logan.
Oh, I didn't have anything particular
Oh.
to add about it. This is really the first
was
I'm hearing
gonna
about it.
I was gonna say it's an original. It's also Chiyabaka director who's
Yeah.
doing it.
Oh, it
And again,
is a
it's
Shirobako director. I knew
automatically,
the
like-
art looks familiar.
Though not with PA Works. It's with EMT Squared.
Yeah, that gets me interested. The downside is EMT Squared, and they have a pretty horrible track
Yeah,
record
most of
as
these
far as,
animes
like,
are
making
doo-doo ass.
anime.
Yeah.
So it's kind of give and take of Shirobaka director,
Which is
but, like,
surprising because like the visuals in the trailer are
Shitty
really
scene.
nice. So I don't know. Maybe he's got a good team working on it.
maybe. All right,
Uh,
you want to talk about your dog? fetish
Okay.
now?
Anyway, speaking of dogs.
Alright. Alright, I guess I have to talk about this. So, the rules of the manga pre-read state that I have to keep my hand in the box until the end of chapter 1,
Oh my
or
God.
until somebody gets to second base, and if I bail before then the Reverend Mother sticks the Gamjabar in my neck. This is a safety net for when actual porn shows up in the queue. This net has holes. It says nothing about taking your hand out of the box when a human turns into a dog and gets carried off by his crush. It says nothing about taking your hand out of the box when a boy gets turned into a girl and then pees herself. And it says absolutely nothing about taking your hand out of the box when you're 3 pages into a 5-page, very detailed explanation of how men get pregnant and how this has completely restructured society. So I kept my hand in the box. And I kept my hand in the box through some really crappy dialogue. I kept my hand in the box when the main character dropped a medical document he was carrying around, I guess, that identified him as an Omega. And then suddenly perfectly very nice people started, like, attacking him? And I kept my hand in the box when he kissed his own son on the mole. And finally, in the last 6 pages of this manga, I knew how it felt to be a yaoi fangirl. Because I was thrilled when these two started banging on the sink. The Reverend Mother removed the Gamjabar from my neck, and I removed my hand from the box. And frankly, what does my recommendation matter for something like this anyway? You knew what you thought of this when I said men and pregnant.
So
Did you see Men and Pregnant? I don't know
Yeah.
if you did.
Yeah, I
definitely did.
Yeah.
So if you're unaware, I hate that. I
Did we say the
can't.
title of this?
It's called Taidama
Oh,
Okairi.
Tadaima Okairi.
Okay.
So
Like, hi, I'm home.
I'm turning my chair around. Okay, sport. So there's this
Omega.
thing called an alpha omega dynamic, which is very popular, or alpha beta omega ABO. Yeah, there it is. Alpha
yeah,
beta.
ABO.
That is very popular in Western fandom culture, especially in fan fiction. The idea is that some characters are alphas, and so they're like the dom, and they're the ones that with the penises, and they fuck. And then there's omegas, and they're like the bottoms, but it's like Logan said, it's like a structural societal thing. I don't know. It's just an excuse that to let any character, regardless of gender, can both like be the one fucking, and then the one also someone can get pregnant. It kind of is a magic wand that just creates this dynamic in whatever artwork you want. So, you know, if you want to Sasuke to get Naruto pregnant, make it in an Omega verse fucking AU. So Anyway, I have never seen this trope outside of fan stuff. I have never seen it in any official Western media. I've never seen it in any Japanese media before. So the fact that this is getting an adaptation is baffling. And it's also more baffling when I went to go look at the manga publisher and realized that it's a magazine that like specializes in this. And I'm not going to show the page on Mal because I think it would get us like banned and taken off of YouTube. But like this manga is the only one in their entire list that is not tagged erotica. And so it's like this is still porn. Like it's still fucking
It's just
impreg porn. It's just got like a nice
porn with plot.
wholesome. It's got a nice wholesome twist to it. Except and like it's got this childcare tag on it on Mal, and I'm like, are you sure about that? Like you can't be like, oh, it's supposed to be a wholesome child rearing show, but like it's still got all the kink shit in it. I don't know. This one's a little weird. I'm trying not to be a hater. I promise I'm trying not to be homophobic about this. I think this is if it's your thing, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm just baffled that this got made. It's truly wild.
I think it's so funny that 4 cis het men are having to explain Omegaverse to our audience.
I'm sorry. Of honestly, demographically, probably also straight men.
Probably, yeah, but like, you know, they're out there. Yeah.
Anyway, and hey, if this awoke something, and you go to Archive of Your Own and search the tags,
AO3, baby.
Yeah, men can get pregnant if you really want them to.
It's so funny that in my notes I wrote like, oh god, we're gonna have to explain Omegaverse on the podcast. I hope Chris explains it. I don't want to. Oh god, did Logan read this in the pre-read? I hope he's not scarred.
Two correct predictions. Congratulations. I don't know. None of us are gonna watch this shit. Does anyone else have any notes on this?
I kind of want to give it an episode.
Oh my god!
I think it could be a fun episode 1 watch, but I don't know.
We should make a drinking game out of it.
I feel like
game?
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I feel like hate watching a show like this is towing a line that I'm not super comfortable with when it comes to like mocking. Like,
I'm not mocking it. Like I'm just genuinely
just
curious.
want to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, if it's your thing, congratulations. New fetish manga come out every week or every season. Okay, moving on. I think we have some back-to-back Isekai slop here.
Oh fuck yeah, we do.
Who's doing this one?
Oh, you're doing both for some reason. I can do one and you can do the other one.
No, it's
I got the notes
fine.
now. I got the notes now, so I could.
Oh well.
I could help you out.
Okay, give me notes on this one because my only note on Tensei Kizoku Kantai Skill de Naria Garu, or as a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in this world, is my only notes are who fucking cares, dude. So the premise of this show is that he gets reincarnated as a baby and his power is appraisal. He can like see if he can sense the potential in other people, so he just stacks up a bunch of very powerful friends to like make into his homies so that he rises up with them. But again, I just really can't stand any anime that does the reincarnated as a baby thing and then spends a significant amount of time when the kid is like a child, and that seems to be what this entire show is. And also I just hate these fucking shows in general for the most part. So
it's so funny, Chris. In my notes, my first line is, I can be really mean to this show, but I know Chris will handle that.
we're getting very tuned in to our beats here.
Yeah, like to me, honestly, this looks like relatively competently made. The story is like fine, fucking I guess. The second PV focuses on the romance between the MC and another girl his age, and it's like him getting all flustered. Like, it was a big turn off for me. Like, I wasn't gonna give it a chance before, but after that second PV, I'm like, no, not at all. Like, I don't even want to think about it anymore.
It's slop for the piggies.
It's just slop. More isekai for the piggies.
Studio mother.
Anime doing like child romances are kind of like.
I'll be honest. That was the only part of the guillotine show. What the fuck is that one called?
Guillotine.
Yeah.
What's it called? Tear Moon Empire.
Tear Moon Empire. That was the only part of that show that made me a little bit like, It's easy to get over, but it's like, are we really gonna do a middle school romance, even though she's technically like 35 or whatever? But it's
At least
like
they
whatever.
took it more comedic
Yeah, it
than
wasn't
like
that serious.
natural. Like there was another isekai, like some like cooking sugar confectionery isekai thing too, and they also had a romance thing, and that one was like a big like turn off for me as well.
Yeah.
I don't get who the like target audience or what they're trying to
I
appeal
know.
to. When
I don't want to
do.
watch a bunch of kid shit. Like, come on. Why do I want a child MC for the entirety of my fantasy? I don't know. It's just
I mean, child MC's fine.
that's
just
fine.
Like,
It's just
I don't need the romance.
I don't know.
between it.
My problem is child MC with the brain of a like
30-year-old man.
mid 30s light novel writer. Yeah, that's my problem. I don't know. It's just
sure.
I don't like that they're an adult in a kid's body. I've never liked that trope. But anyway, regardless.
I think the slime one this season did it well, but I agree that most of the as a kid shows don't do it very well.
Yeah. Very hit or miss. Okay, next up is unfortunately whatever bad things I had to say about Tensei Kizoku, it is at least way better than this horse shit.
Yeah, this is worse.
Oh my god, this is gonna win my worst isekai of the season award. This one is Tensei Shit Ara Dainana Ouji Datta no de Kima ni Majutsu o Kimi wa Mimasu, and this is I was reincarnated as the seventh prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. This is Shota porn. It's not very well veiled, but it's just Shota porn. He's got like you can see that outfit. That's a boy, and he's like a young boy. He's a 10-year-old, and he's got his little legs out, and he's fucking flirting with a bunch of half naked women the whole time. It's just Shota porn. Like Jesus Christ, make it a little bit more subtle here. I have nothing else to say about this show. It looks terrible.
Well, it's like him like being like a sorcerer or something. Like, yeah, he was a sorcerer, and he gets reincarnated as.
It's the same boy. Fucking. He's a baby, and he's extremely OP as a baby, and shoots a giant laser and kills a monster or something.
Yeah.
And then the monster turns into this fucking annoying ass looking little mascot character. Everything about this show is deeply repulsive.
I cannot believe that that's the trope that they decided to go with whenever Mushoku Tensei got popular.
Yeah.
Just the OP as a baby.
Well, he wasn't even OP as a baby. He trained and got strong. Anyway, whatever. We don't have to spend any more time on this.
No.
My big comment on this is that every time I like quickly scroll past this on the chart, it looks for like half a second like a new season of Iruma, and then I get really
because he has the same blue hair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I guess the mascot character is voiced by Aifaru. That's cool.
I wish he got better projects. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, Logan. I think you're telling us about Fable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling us about The Fable, which is different from Fable, which was that video game back on the Xbox. So this, I was just kind of having trouble with this one. Like, I think it's supposed to be a comedy because it's got a laid-back comedy setup, but it's really not very funny at all. And there's a lot of action in it, and the action isn't super great. Anyway, so the setup here is that the hitman has to pretend to be normal for like a year to go undercover, and the joke is that he can't. And he's just constantly picking fights and beating people up. And you're like, well, he's picking fights and beating people up. Maybe the action's good. It kind of isn't. It's like just a little too natural to be like over the top exciting or funny, but it's still too divorced from reality to feel like, you know, gritty and like a cool fight, you know? And the exposition is, like, terrible. Like, some of the worst I've ever seen. It's just all people explaining their lives and emotions to people who should have known them for years and things like that. And this apparently won an award, and I'm not sure what for. I didn't like this at all. I can't recommend.
The trailers didn't really look that good either.
No.
Yeah, it's just kind of ugly, unfortunately.
It looks pretty ugly. It is bizarre. Like it like the art style is weird, production value is weird. like the characters are weird. It's like a wacky assassin show. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, yeah, he's a hitman and he beats people up. I don't think that there's a whole lot of actual assassin work going on. He mostly just hits them, like street punks, at least as far as like after the first big, fight where he's like, all right, now I have to go undercover for a year, and then he just like beats up some street punks or whatever. So,
I mean, what interests me the most is the parakeet in the key art. But last time a bird interested me in a show, kind of blew back at me. So Sasaki to Peach.
Oh, you're talking about Sasaki. I thought you were talking about Big Bird.
Oh, Big Bird, that's dude. Fuck that guy.
No.
Not the Sesame Street Big Bird. I'm talking about Tensei Samurai.
Yeah, from an anime no one watched. Okay. I don't know. Do we have anything else on this one? I don't plan on watching this now.
This show is weird and unhinged. It reminds me of Under Ninja, which they also did like 2 seasons ago. And like it was enjoyable just because of how like weird it was, and maybe this show will have the same appeal, but it's definitely kind of wacky. I don't know what to make of it.
If Tim, are you gonna check this out?
Oh yeah, I'll check it out.
All right. If you say episode 1 is like good, I'll check it out. Otherwise, I'm probably out on this.
Yeah, I don't think it really crosses the barrier of something that I'd actually be willing to check out. Same with this next one. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this either.
No, hey baby, it's more isekai slop. Let's go. All right, the new gate. It's like Overlord, where a guy is stuck in the video game world. The twist that he's the hero instead of the villain this time, and he's transported 1,000 years in the future. So it's like Frieren, I guess, in which the adventures are over.
Did you just say that the twist is that it's a normal isekai show?
Well, it's like
compared to Overlord.
It's like Overlord. It's an online
How
game.
is this like Overlord?
Because it's a player that gets stuck in the world of the game that they were in.
Yes.
Sure.
He like wakes up and he's in the game world, but 500 years after the end of the game or whatever. So
yeah, exactly that.
That's the premise. And it's about as paint by numbers otherwise as you can possibly get.
Yeah, it's just isekai from there on. I have
nothing else to say about this. Sorry.
This kind of just looks like isekai slop.
Yeah.
Which I'm if you want isekai slop or not.
I think there's probably better isekai slop this season.
Yeah.
Like the Prince one?
Well,
I don't know.
We don't
like
have
the
to
goblin.
compare.
I don't fucking care. Okay.
I think it's funny that there's an isekai show called The New Gate, and it isn't a sequel to The Old Gate.
That's true.
That's funny. There you go.
All right.
Anyway.
I think you're telling us about the next one, Logan.
Yeah, sure, I am. So this is Tonari no Yokai-san. I make fun of people who watch bad shows just because they have one cute girl in them, and I will continue to do so. But I can say I at least understand the psychology a little better after the absolute cutest cat in manga got me through 5 chapters of Stone Cold Nothing.
Wow.
This is the kind of thing I'm talking about when I say that slice of life shows are just comedies that aren't funny or dramas that aren't dramatic. Like, there's some lightly implied melancholy among some of the characters here. I should talk about what the show is about. So, in a world where yokai exist and are, like, kind of normal. Like, they're a little bit weird. Like, it was exciting. So, the cat here, his name is Buchio. He's my best friend. He was a normal cat, and then at some point he just turned into a Nekomata, which is just a cat with 2 tails that can talk, as far as I can tell anyway. And he's so cute, and Anyway, like I said, and there's some, like, gently chuckle-worthy jokes in here, I guess, but mostly there's just Buchio, and Buchio's mannerisms are extremely cute, and I just have to refuse for that to be enough to get me into this show, because I wasn't digging any of the rest of it at all. So I can't recommend this, but I'm tempted.
I feel like
Sincerely
Logan
tempted.
has just described the genre trappings of slice of life and then is like, yeah, and that sucks. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, and that sucks.
I think this is supposed to be like an Iyashikei. It's supposed to just be about vibes and be fun and nice. I thought that this was a really, like, interesting premise. I think the designs are really cool and interesting. There's a lot of, like, different types of yokai that are kind of living life as people. Like in the fucking poster, you see the dude with a car head or whatever. I really like the design of the main crow guy. I think he looks cool as well. This just seems solid to me. I am interested in checking it out on the premise alone. Yeah.
I wish you ignored the car head man because that was my main pull from my notes. Like I'm like, this looks fine, and then I saw the him. I'm like, oh, what's your deal?
Yeah.
Like Logan is attracted to the cat. I'm like, ooh, car head man.
The cat is cute.
About the car. He's so
it's
cute.
Yuki
I've sent you those pictures.
Yeah,
I've sent you those pictures.
This is probably what happens after he's on with Aaron's dad. He's just being caught as a cat. Just be chill.
After killing billions. Good for him.
Buchio turns around into a mirror. He's holding onto the sink. He's like, Tatakae.
Anyway. No, I'm down. I'm in for this. This seems fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely want to check it out. Knowing that it's a slice of life and Logan hates it because it's a slice of life.
I mean, just aside from that, I think the premise is unique
maybe
enough.
It's just not good.
I mean, that is possible.
All right, next up, Unnamed Memory.
No, it's TP Bon.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, this is also one that just got announced. So this is an adaptation of a really old manga from the 70s. We don't really know very much about this.
So old that I couldn't find it, for the record.
Yeah. It's about time travel, I think. And it's Bones. So Bones is doing another Netflix ONA, and some of those have been a little hit or miss. The director, though, is a Bones director that I like a lot. He worked on Maidens in Your Savage Season and Shirayuki Hime, which are both good shows. So I am definitely checking this one out. Just because it seems like it's cool to see like revival adaptations of old manga like this in general. So
I mean, yeah,
plus,
like first of all, like Urusei Yatsura, and now this.
We didn't say this, but the original manga was written by the same guy who wrote Doraemon.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So was it before or after Doraemon?
Before Doraemon.
That is
okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't remember how old Doraemon is. But yeah, this is coming out a little bit later.
70s, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. This is coming out a little bit later in May, so slightly delayed here. But
and it's also a Netflix, so it might be a batch release.
Yeah, but I'm interested. I'm down to check it out.
Yeah.
I
like sci-fi, so
I think it's a 2-part batch release, if I remember correctly.
Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the key art here, and it's like Mayan, like architecture.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's time
traveling.
So I mean, like if they're like time traveling to like Mayan Aztec times, that's really cool. Like in an anime, that's pretty interesting.
I have not, unfortunately, seen the trailer, so I can't give more context because
I saw the trailer. It was just them like time traveling. Like
there wasn't much in the trailer.
Yeah,
it's
not much then to talk about, but I am definitely
like we said, like this was like just announced.
Like it's Bones, and so I think the production values will be good. Though I will say, This Is Bones was what got me to start Metallic Rouge last season, and that one's been a little bit. Tune in for our review episode.
When you binge it all 6
probably.
episodes,
We'll try. Okay. Now we can move on to Unnamed Memory.
Unnamed Memory. Who's doing that?
Unnamed Memory. This one seems like a pure fantasy about a prince who's been cursed where all his wives will die if he marries them or something like that. So he's trying to climb this tower to meet this witch to break his curse. But when he meets the witch, he's like, damn, she's hot. I'm just going to marry her instead. So he proposes to her and they live together. And she's trying to figure out how to break his curse while she has some like dark history behind her as well, is what I got from the synopsis. As far as like the animation and the studio and everything, Angi's not a great studio, but they've been known to like pull out the stops every once in a while, but they also do a bunch of slop, so I can't really... I mean, the animation looked
okay. Yeah, it was fine.
Okay at time. Like, it's one of those things where, like, if you took a still frame, it looks okay, but when it starts moving a lot, it kind of shows a little bit of, like, holes here and there. The director also does, like, all the Angi slop, so he has, like...
Yeah.
I don't know, Uzaki-chan and, like, a Tome game. And he doesn't have anything super great either, so...
Yeah. I don't know, man. This just feels like an anime where people are gonna sit around and talk about what situation that they're in for 30-minute chunks at a time because it's a light novel adaptation and that's how light novel dialogue is written. And that doesn't sound particularly
The
interesting to me.
PVs look decently action packed,
It does.
and there's also non-isekai, so that's like
Yeah, it's a
instantly
real
plus 10
fantasy,
points.
but I don't know. I don't know if this
I don't
premise
know.
is strong enough to like carry it.
The amount of pure fantasies we get these days are like you can count it with one hand. So I'll probably just check it out just for that.
I mean, it's pure fantasy, but it's still like generic enough, you know?
Yeah, I think this is not.
Yeah, but there's no like OP per tag, and
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to give it a shot just for that.
Yeah. I mean, like, this looks competent, and like, if I was starving for shows, I'd be like down to pick this up, but like, I am in fact drowning in
drowning.
shows.
I would not blame anyone for skipping over this show.
I will only
I just
check
want
it
to
out
do
if
it
I
for my
hear
own
it's-
curiosity.
Yeah,
Just because it looks.
Tim, if you say if it's that heat, then I'll check it out.
If I hear that it's great, maybe I'll come back to this, but it's a little bit lower on my priority list for sure. Okay, moving on to Vampire Dormitory.
All right. So this one, it felt like, we have to hit certain beats on certain pages, and we don't care if the interim is completely nonsensical. But the premise here is that the main character is a girl who cross-dresses for some reason, and she's like homeless because her parents died and her aunt and uncle are like assholes. And she works at a cafe, that they fire her from the cafe because she's attracting a bunch of women to the cafe instead of men, which is who the cafe is for, I guess. And then she, runs into a vampire guy by accident. The vampire guy drinks her blood. He's like, wow, this tastes like crap. And it's like, it's because your blood tastes like crap when you aren't loved or something like that. And anyway, then she thinks about killing herself, and then she's like, no, I'm not going to kill myself. And then she falls off the roof anyway. And then the vampire guy who had like really grimaced about saving her in the first place, or like meeting her in the first place, shows up and saves her, and keeps her in the vampire dormitory. So now she has a place to live, except it's an all-male dormitory. And also the vampire only drinks boys' blood. Or he says he can only drink boys' blood. But he drank her blood just fine, and he didn't seem to be dying. So I don't know. I think she might just be catfishing him. But yeah, the problem here primarily is that the cross-dressing thing shows up at the very end of the chapter. So it's a reveal that we get no elaboration on. She's just a victim of ridiculous tragedy with nothing really to add to it. As Chris is about to point out, she really doesn't look that much like a boy even when she's cross-dressing, and it's even worse in the anime.
The anime adaptation, I have to assume that these guys are blind. That being a vampire makes them incapable of maybe face blind or something. They just cannot perceive the face because I was prepared for these kind of cross-dressing shows to be like, okay, maybe they look, a little bit like them. It's just a woman. It looks like she has makeup on. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's other cross-dress anime where it's believable, or on High School. You can tell that maybe that she might be a girl, but she looks like a boy when she's cross-dressing or whatever. I don't know. But no, she just looks like a woman in the trailer. The poster doesn't do a good job of showing it, but if you go watch the trailer, you can see what I'm talking about. It is enough to just make the premise be completely insane. But the good news is that vampire boy reverse harem, I am not the target audience for this anyway, so I was never going to watch it in the first place.
I'm not going to watch this. I honestly think even fans of this genre would probably be disappointed in something
it looks
like this.
it
was
sucks.
manic and kind of ugly. Yeah, it just kind of sucks.
It looks pretty bad, but hey, that doesn't stop some people. People like vampires.
Yeah.
You hit literally all the notes that I got, so I'm good. You hit it all, baby.
I'm gonna let you go first next time.
No, we pretty much said word for word. Or in High School, looks nothing like a man, and I'm not the target audience.
Damn.
That's word for word what you said.
Same brain. All right, Next up is the least fortunate name title of an anime for this season.
Yes. So Windbreaker, and I can actually explain the name because they explain it in there. So it's hard to explain. It's an untranslatable Japanese pun, and it's supposed to be like a wind chime that protects you from stuff.
Sure.
What it's named after,
I guess.
And the premise here is that this guy goes to like the delinquentiest school in Japan, I guess, or like he's heard that it's like the delinquentiest place in town with all the strongest fighters or whatever. And then it turns out that yes, they are all the strongest fighters, but they're all the strongest fighters because they're like good friends and like protecting people from the other evil delinquent gangs.
Wow.
And the main character was expecting more of a kick everybody's ass and be mean to them kind of vibe. I went kind of back and forth on this one as I was reading it. Like, I'm a sucker for delinquent aesthetics and fistfights, but the main character is like very annoyingly tsundere about like, oh, I'm the hero now, but oh no, I'm supposed to be all tough and then stoic and whatever. And anyway, the fights themselves are solid and the art is kind of solid, and I think if this like turns out to be a dry season, I could give this a chance. But you know, if I'm busy and I haven't decided what all I am and am not watching, but if I'm busy, I'm not really gonna push for it. It was like kind of fine plus. So I guess I can't recommend it, but I can recommend it. I don't know. That's all I got.
How about you, on?
When I was like reading the synopsis for this, like I was expecting like, you know, bottom of the barrel like yaoi bait, but like this seems to be like an actual like competent gang fight.
It's Cloverworks, so yeah, it's not
Yeah.
it's not some shit studio or anything.
Yeah, like, it's like a more serious take on Buchigiri, and like apparently there's like some expectations for like great saga from the show. Like I think like on Mal, it's like the interest stacks, the unreleased anime that are potential bangers, and the next Sakuga shows. So
Maybe probably because it's Cloverwork and people would just assume.
maybe,
Yeah.
and like I guess like later on in the manga, you know, there's like some like crazy fight scenes. So I think just based on that, like I want to give it a shot because like I'm a Sakuga addict. Fucking love that shit.
There have been a lot of delinquent shows recently with like obviously multiple seasons of Tokyo Revengers and then Buchigiri. This most recent one. This is obviously more grounded than Buchigiri and I don't know, hopefully better than Tokyo Revengers. It's a pretty low bar to clear. But if it's got high production values and it like looks good enough that it has good fights and is interesting enough, that's enough to at least get me to check it out. I will say though, the name plus the like green swirling mist in the poster, it's just highly
They put
unfortunate.
Green mist in the poster.
A little
I also had
unfortunate.
my notes. If we go through this entire section about making a fart joke, I'll be very proud of us.
No, I annihilated that.
There's no reason to be proud
I
of
feel like
us.
they made the exact same joke with Blue Lock as well.
What's the joke there?
Well, because like
They also had the green gas. in
yeah,
Blue
they also
Lock.
had like green mist.
Oh,
around
that was
them.
even worse. Maybe that's just a action show. thing.
I think like the season 2 poster, like it's just like the main character and the main rival, and like they both have just like green mist emanating from them. It's like that's not a good.
It was like the part 2 for season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll post an image.
I found it. Okay, this is way worse.
And I'm pretty sure you make the exact same joke.
Maybe here for the people watching at home. Just awful.
Oh, jeez.
He's almost pulling it over his nose too, and then
Yeah,
he's
he's
oh
like,
god,
I don't know what
he's
to
so
think.
stinky.
Okay, this poster is nothing compared to that one. Anyway,
Who stinks more?
I definitely think this would be a premiere. Definitely checking it out in a weaker season, but you know, I still think I'll probably check it out.
I'm definitely checking out like the first 3 episodes, maybe just to see for that Sakuga potential.
Tim, any other thoughts?
No, I mean, I think you hit all the points.
Okay. All right. Next up is a big one. Yeah, Tim's doing it. Take it away.
Yoru no Kurage, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. So this one's kind of like Call the Night, a bunch of girls like wandering through Shibuya, Japan at night, trying to like discover themselves. It's an original, so we don't know much more than that. It's kind of, they all come from like really different backgrounds. Like one's illustrator, one's a VTuber because of course
Yeah.
a VTuber these days.
Gotta have that. market.
One's a former idol and one's like a music student. So these 4 girls are all like trying to like discover themselves, and they're all wandering Japan at night, and they come together, and it's kind of about them like kind of self-discovery kind of show.
Yeah.
It looks good though. It's
Oh,
Tokyo, and it looks big, and it's instantly got me from like the first image to the PV.
This one's gotten some marketing hype ahead of the season, so this was probably the show I was the most looking forward to. And I'll just say it, I wouldn't be surprised if this was like our actual like best show of the new stuff coming out. It's Dogakoba, so like great studio, obviously.
They've had hit and misses.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to also talk about Oshinoko, but before Oshinoko, no one really talked about the studio that much.
The director hasn't directed very much, like as a head director, but he's worked on a lot of really good shows. He did Aramanga Sensei, whatever. Anyway, that was an adaptation.
He did Nozaki-kun.
Yeah.
So no, he was the chief director for that.
The writer is this is a weird one. The writer is the light novel writer of Jakutara Tomazaki-kun.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that puts a damper on things for me.
I don't know.
Just a slight damper.
I think I would like to see what he would do with an original anime project, but I don't know. The trailer looks amazing. The visuals look amazing.
The visuals look incredible.
I am very excited for this show. It's like I think a lot of people that are like these kinds of artsy type of shows are looking forward to it. So I am definitely going to check this one out. I would actually say this is probably one of my more anticipated shows of the season. The preview looked really good. I watched this when it came out like months ago. So when it was announced. So yeah, big one.
Yeah, I can definitely see this being like a major talking point of the season. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for the show.
Okay. And our last show, Yozakura-san Chi no Daisakusen, or Mission Yozakura Family.
All right. So this was like blisteringly quirky. How do I explain the premise here? So there's a girl and there's a boy, and they're both in like school together, and she's like the boy's only friend. And also her family is a series of increasingly annoying, ridiculous assassins. And her older brother, for some reason, decides that he has to kill the boy to protect her. And then the rest of her family decides to fight the older brother to protect him. And then they get married.
The main couple get married immediately.
Episode 1, really?
Yeah.
Yes,
Even though they're in high
episode
school.
1, because so the thing is that you can't fight people in the family, even though they spend the whole chapter fighting people in the family. But like, yeah, so he gets married to her, and that makes the elder brother stop trying to kill him. And the fights were messy, difficult to follow, had no real sense of psychology. The emotional content was super limp-wristed and like somehow trying too hard. Like things got weirdly intense for how little I knew or cared about these characters, and the conflicts didn't really make any sense. The art was kind of ugly. I didn't like anything about this, and I was just off it after one chapter.
Really? After one chapter?
Yeah. Well, it was a triple wide. It was 60 pages. So I got
okay, yeah. That's fine then. I mean, like, from the PV, like, this looked like the most anime-ass anime that I've seen since Buchigiri. Yeah.
I don't think it looks bad.
No, you think it looks like...
I mean, it looks wacky for sure. I just think that, I don't know if it's got, I don't know. I think Buchigiri is a more original premise than this. This is definitely wacky, though.
I feel like Spy Family has started, like, an age of spy stories, right?
I wouldn't... These people are basically Power Rangers. They're not, like, I don't know. They're not, like, they say that they're spies, but I don't know how much of it is accurate. I don't know. They're more like they had the designs of all these characters are they're basically superheroes. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It seems wacky, and like maybe that's enough to check it out, but at the same time, I scrolled through the director that did this, and he was like responsible for like every single seasonal mid show for the past like 3 years. So I don't know. I don't have very high expectations here.
I at least want to check out episode 1, if only for the big man with the bucket head.
Yeah, like I said, there's some wacky designs and some interesting characters.
Sexy anime Oscar the Grouch.
The director's got some decent stuff on his belt. He did like Jahi-sama.
That's not. I wouldn't.
Jahi's like alright.
I said mid.
It's
He did
okay.
like Sasaki Topi-chan. He did Masamune-kun Revenge. He did fucking like it's just a bunch of isekai slop.
Oh,
he did Sonohara-san. Haha.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. He's the director for Sonohara.
Anyway, I stand.
Maybe he's actually based. Who knows?
And all the fake Khaled ones as well.
Oh, he did almost all the fake Khaled ones.
None of those shows I would consider to be very good from that entire list that I just read, but whatever. Anyway, okay, I don't know. I'm kind of shrugging on this one. I might check out episode 1, but I'm not like married to it.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! I hate you. God damn it! I hate that's what we're gonna have to end on for all the new shows.
But yeah, I think
married to this.
I think that does it. Pretty beefy one. There's a lot of shows this season. And now I have to ask you to do the possible task of narrowing it down and giving me a top 3 for shows that you are the most interested in.
Haha, lucky for you, I did the work this time. I actually got a top 3.
Did we do sequels?
No sequels.
No, so we can. Yeah, let's just say not including sequels because I feel like my top 3 would be sequels if I did.
Yeah, all 3 of my top 3 would be.
Am I counting Spice and Wolf as a sequel?
No, you can count that.
You can count Spice and Wolf. But like for me, like Sandlands and Kaijuu number 8 are guaranteed for me. But like stuff that like I discovered from this preview, I want to say Sentai Daishikaku, Shumatsu Train Dokoeiku, and the jellyfish one, the Yoru no Kurage wa Oyonagana.
Literally my exact 3 that I was gonna do, so I'm gonna mix it up. I'll say Girls Band Cry, just at the hope that maybe it'll be good and that it's like can fill the Bochi shaped hole in my heart. But then my other 2 are definitely gonna be the Shumatsu Train, Doko Iku, and Tonari no Yokai-san. Those are definitely really high on my list.
Wait, which one's the Tonari?
The bird. The
that one. Okay,
cat.
the yokai-san. Right.
Oh, I misspoke. I meant the train one.
Oh,
said the train one.
No, wait.
You said.
Did I say Tonari Yokai-san? No. Yoru no Kurage o Oyo
the jellyfish.
The jellyfish.
Okay.
That is the one that I meant instead of the yokai one. The yokai one we'll see
there
about. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. If you want, I could change one of my answers to Windbreaker. Like,
sure.
I'm actually like kind of interested in that.
Yeah.
All right. So for my 3, I'm gonna give it to Kaijuu number 8, Sandland series, and I'm gonna give a very tentative 3rd place to that train one.
Okay.
I feel like that one could hurt me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
want to include Spice and Wolf, but I'm gonna avoid it just to give the new shows a shot. So I'm gonna say Kaijuu number 8, the jellyfish, and Sasayaku. Sure. Yeah.
Sasayaku? That one's the
yo-yo one.
Oh, sure.
That one.
Yeah. That one could be good. We'll see. All right, there you have it. That is a lot of anime, especially including the sequels that we will be checking out. I haven't even thought about the number, but I'm sure it's high. All right, the next that you're going to be hearing for us is a winter wrap up. Haha. It'll be our winter review coming out in a couple of weeks once all the shows have finished. This is going to include this episode is maybe going to be the most stacked review episode of all time for our podcast because of how many insanely good fall shows are also ending that count for this review. That includes Frieren, that includes Kusaria, that includes
Undead Unluck,
and Bird Mask for Shangri-La Frontier. So just a ton of, and then also all the good stuff from winter as well. So we have a pretty thick episode, lots of interesting opinions there, and then after that we will have the mid-season check-in for our reactions on all of these shows.
Hopefully, we can actually upload the mid-season.
Yeah,
this time.
exactly. Okay. Thanks for watching, and hope you all enjoy all these new anime when they premiere.
Happy Easter to those who celebrate, I guess.
Yeah, actually, I guess Easter's coming soon, huh?
Easter
Happy
like
Easter, Xbox.
next week.
Easter's
I don't think
next
we've
week.
ever
I guess we
mentioned a
will have to
holiday
episode up
ever
at
before
Easter.
on this podcast, but yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Women's History Month.
Hey, yo, happy Women's Month, fellas.
All right.